Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What's going on, man? How are you? I'm writing the banner here. I want to put up.
Oh yeah, new one for the gratuitous.
Yeah, because we'll do a holiday deal, right? Cyber Monday.
Oh yeah, everyone's doing their Black Friday deals, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff you can buy with Monero that's on sale for Black Friday.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like those
right?
Zupa bars. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a special with the coffee. So we're gonna put all the subscriptions on sale. So we got the 3-month, the 6-month, and the 12-month. So we'll do like 10% off for all those, which I think is great, right? Everybody has a coffee drinker in their family, so it's just a great way to use Monero to buy some of your Christmas gifts this year. So let me get this up. Use Monero to buy your gifts this year. For a limited time, get 10% off 3, 6, and 12-month gratuitous.org coffee subscription. All right, I'm going to add the banner. Did I do it? All right, there you go.
Nice.
But yeah, if you go to gratuitous.org, you'll see we got it up. We put it up there all nice, I think. Let me see if I have it up there. Do I? Let me see. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I see the, yep.
Did it pop up?
Very nice. It did. Very nice. Holiday
Sweet
deal.
Yeah, so I don't know how long we'll keep that going, but guys, yeah, if you're looking for an excuse to use Monero for the holidays for your friends and fam, that's a good one. And what's nice is, it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because it's not like a one-time thing. They'll be getting it in the mail every month, depending on how long you get it for. You get a full year. And it helps us. The more people that get subscriptions, the better, because then we have like a consistent supply that we can, or a consistent amount of demand. So then it's easier for us to supply it. I'll show the screen there. Bam. There it is, guys. 10% off 6-month, 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month subscriptions. Use subscriptions. So that's not bad. So like a 3-month is usually $51. You get it's only $45, so more than $5 off. 6-month is usually $102. Now it's $91, so you're getting like $10, a little more, $10 off. And a 12-month, you're getting like almost $20 off, $20 off. It's not bad. All right, what do we got going on? We have a big show as always. A lot of news, right? The news kind of like snuck up.
Yeah, like really, there's been some developments, especially regarding Mr. Gensler in the SEC. But
yeah, I haven't even been following that, to be honest. So we'll get to that. The news will be like news for me. Like, I mean, I got back
about the coffee price, because me being not a coffee drinker, how much does this price compare to, obviously compared to Starbucks, it's like, you're saving like $1 million a month, but compared to buying a bag in like the grocery store, like your average brand, what's the pricing compared there?
For here in New York, it's comparable. So it's the same.
Okay, wow. So you might as well just buy gratuitous. There's no reason not to. You're a fool to not buy gratuitous.
If you're going for like high, I'd put this in the higher end category of coffee, obviously, right? Because this is like coming straight from the farm. We literally roast it per order. So yes, it's a very good deal. Apples to apples comparison. It's a very good deal, I'd say. And I'm
my third person to start buying gratuitous. I've sampled so many people and they all just like come back to me. You're like, oh, I want to buy this. It's always a little bit of a curve getting them to that point because, I got to get them set up with like Cake Wallet and Monero and stuff. But everyone
But
who's tried it so
get,
far, they're willing to because they just want to buy the coffee because it's so good.
now you get them a holiday present. No excuses. Yeah. Now you could go and get them I mean, yeah, compared to Folgers or something like, like, I don't know, or like Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, where it's not as cheap as that, but it's not Dunkin' Donuts, it's not Folgers. It's good stuff. So yeah, apples to apples, it's a very good deal for the price. What was the other thing?
No seed oils.
No seed oil, straight from the farm.
I definitely do that in coffee. But...
Roasted. Who knows, man? Who knows these days? And then our guest. Who do we have as our guest today? We have Recanman, right?
We do. Yep.
That's awesome. We never had him on, did we? Did we ever have him on?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. So that'll be a first for us. We've been talking to him about XMR Bazaar stuff at some point, and we were talking to the Monerokon folks. We said somebody should come on and give the rundown on Monerokon to psych people up for it because I know they're doing a fundraiser. And apparently Recanman is the guy that's highly involved in that. So he'll be jumping on.
That's awesome.
But yeah, without further ado, let's move it along. Big show today. And I know people want to get back to kind of hanging out with the fam for the long Thanksgiving Day weekend. So I guess let's get going.
Of course.
Price report.
Run that price report.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer.
What's up, broskies? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Oh, there?
Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
We're here. Thank you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Did the best I could to find some turkey here in Mexico. I don't know how to say stuffing in Spanish, so
Is that kind of a rarity?
some rice.
I feel like turkey is a thing there for some reason. Did I have turkey in Mexico? Is turkey a thing in Mexico? Is that like common or not?
I've seen duck more often than turkey, but at the same time, I always confuse the two words. One is pavo and the other is pato. I think pavo is turkey, but I can never remember which one is which.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're much more likely to see duck here at a restaurant than turkey.
All right. But you found some. You made it on your own? You cooked it or?
No. Just a friend of mine actually went to the grocery store and found some, like the last two turkey legs, which is kind of funny because usually, that's like the thing that goes first, but they had two giant turkey legs. So yeah, it worked out all right.
Nice.
I'm assuming that day is just like an average day for most Mexicans.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Dia de Gracias and like, I don't know, I want to say at least a third of the people I talk to are like, oh yeah, I used to live in the States, usually California. So, I mean, they know what it is. It's not like it's totally foreign to them.
Nice.
But,
Dia de Gracias. I never even heard of that. When is that?
Yeah, that's Thanksgiving. The day.
Oh, they do it on the same day?
I mean, that's what they call it.
Okay.
Like, that's what I've heard people say, El Dia de Gracias.
Oh.
So, which is, the day of thanks.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing down there. That's cool. Nice.
And then yesterday, I used the, I feel a little bit bad. I could have kind of warned you guys last week that the Black Friday sale on TradingView is always it's like a 75% discount. So, for example, you can get TradingView Pro, which is normally $600-$700 for like $250 on Black Friday. But I think that ended like at 12 last night. So you might still check if you pay for the TradingView subscription, which like if you do any trading, I kind of recommend that you do. But
they have a Cyber Monday sale instead.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Up to 70% off plus 1 free month.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, right on. So I guess it's all weekend then. Yeah, it's a good time to get your subscription for TradingView if you're inclined to pay for it. All that wave magic stuff that I show you guys, it's like it prints like 600 to 700 lines on the chart. So yeah, they definitely make me pay them to be able to put that much stuff on a single chart. So yeah, we had the big news this week is that CZ, unfortunately, sadly, will not go to prison. He'll only pay a meager $4 billion to avoid jail time.
And for the totally wrong reasons, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then the money is like not even going to FTX. So one part of the finding was that he was part of the FTX collapse. Like he helped to make that happen, which we already kind of knew basically, and Sam Bankman already knew. Yet Sam Bankman will go to prison for a long time, and CZ just has to pay $4 billion. So that's interesting. I mean, we don't really know how long Sam is going to go to prison, but he's been there, for months now. I can't remember if he's like admitting to like a criminal thing and he's like, yeah, I screwed up, and here I'm going to pay the fine or whatever. But at any rate, he's not going to jail. And some new guy named Richard Tang is taking over. He's been part of Binance for a while, and he's a World Economic Forum member. Although recently, it seems like that may or may not be, just because their face is on the website, that may or may not actually mean much.
Yeah, I've
yeah,
noticed that a
so-
lot where there's some people who just faces on there, and I think it's sometimes by happenstance and not because they're actually really like a part of it.
Yeah, like they might have attended a conference, they might have made a speech. Like
Yeah.
4 years ago, if you had said, "Yo, Anthony, you want to go talk to the WEF, to the World Economic Forum and
About Monero."
present some stuff?" Yeah, I'd be like, "Hell yeah, I'll go talk about Monero." And then all the anarchists would be like, "Yo, this guy is a WEF agent. He's
Yeah, it's a little silly, right? Yeah, go because we
decoy
saw that with
anarchist."
Milei, right? That was a big thing with Milei this week. Everybody was like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
funny because I was like, yeah, that's not good. He's a WEF member. And then luckily some other people did the research and they're like, no, here's the video of him talking. It was 2014. Oh, and by the way, how many of you that are like dissing Milei because he went to the WEF once, how many of you even knew what the WEF was in 2014? Like, back then we didn't quite know. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, so this guy, Richard Tang, is going to take over Binance. And
I'm sure we'll get into it more with the news, but just what really happened with the Binance thing? Why is he paying $4 billion? Like what? So what was the findings? Like what?
Bank Secrecy Act violation, right?
Was that?
Say again?
Bank Secrecy Act violations.
Yeah, that would make sense. Probably
like not complying
not
with
money
AML
transmitter, because I think they
stuff.
have those licenses, but like, I mean, money laundering and who knows, whatever. Like they've probably got some rap sheet that they haven't released to the public that they were presenting CZ with, and that they were like, listen, take the deal or we're going to hit you with all of this stuff. Or it's possible that the dude was basically just an insider all along. I lean towards that speculation more than anything. Like I feel like Sam Bankman was
market manipulation.
I don't know if they I really should go read the official release, which I didn't. I kind of just like went with the headlines and a couple of my friends that kind of took a look. But I mean, yeah, it's basically like we know that CZ's list of crimes are long, and the stuff that Binance has been doing to people has been pretty bad. I mean, I think the big ones are the lack of KYC, intentionally serving U.S. customers, pretending like, oh, you just have to have an IP that's outside of the U.S. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we don't serve U.S. customers. So there's that. It's like the KYC stuff. It's all the stuff that they usually get people for.
Right.
So
right.
But I mean, we also like we know that Binance, there's something like 800, 700 complaints with the Federal Trade Commission about people saying, hey, Binance froze my funds. They won't release them. It's been months and I can't, there's nothing I can do. I have a friend that that had a pretty significant sum of cash at Binance back in like 2021, and he got his funds frozen as well. And they would not respond to him, or like they would send him, just boilerplate bullshit emails like, oh, we're working on getting your funds restored, blah, blah, blah. And finally, after months had gone by, he got a lawyer to send a demand letter. And what do you know? Like a week later, they released his funds. So this happens.
Incredible.
Like we just know that they've been selectively scamming customers. And obviously with Monero, we know they fractionally reserve. So it's just like their list of crimes is long. The list of their bullshit is long. Who knows what exactly that maybe under the table or behind closed doors they were threatening CZ with. So I mean, yeah, he basically had to settle because there's no chance he could have held anything. He would have gone to jail with Sam Bankman if he'd gone to trial. So that's
do we think could this be the beginning of the end of paper Monero on Binance, a fractional reserve?
I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, like I
I
saw most of the just like initially looking at the articles, the main things they were charging them for were the things that didn't really matter as much. Not the scamming customers, but more of the not complying with the Bank Secrecy Act.
Yep.
So yeah, but we'll look at that later, of course.
All right, all
I
right.
mean that sounds like them. Like they really like in their court filings, they really focus on their authority and their scribbles, and they rarely focus on like the real hardcore stuff that you've done to victimize people.
Johnny getting
It's
scammed
just
doesn't matter to Uncle
yeah,
Sam.
yeah. Like that's just their mo. That's just how they go about it. So, well, anyways, price news kind of out of the way for the most part. Let's see. We could start here with crypto. Yeah, why not? We'll start with Bitcoin. Actually, you know what? Monero's looking pretty good right now. Let's start with Monero. So the US dollar price, we're bumping up against our sort of horizontally challenged area with this dotted line right there. With any luck, we'll be breaking through that pretty soon. You would think like that it should. Overall, this is a kind of pattern. This is strength. You expect this kind of thing to bump to the upside, break the resistance, and then start bumping up along the more long term line here. So we've also got the ratio, the XMR BTC ratio, has been underperforming, as we talk about very often. You know, we've got the we've got the correlation here to the total crypto market cap, or maybe it's towards Bitcoin, but it doesn't really matter. Total crypto market cap, yeah. So Monero just like is inversely correlated. When crypto goes up, the ratio of XMR BTC tends to go down. And we could also put this in terms of Bitcoin. It would be the same chart basically. So it looks like things are kind of trying to find a bottom here. You'll notice I've drawn this new line right here, and this is our very long-term view, obviously. So we'll zoom out here. We're looking at now like the past 4 years. And you'll notice that we can now draw a nice little happy support line right here. Hopefully, hopefully this holds. But if things are really looking up for crypto, then we might spend some time down here on this line, just kind of hanging out in this area. So right now, like things look optimistic for let's just say they look optimistic for the ETF approval. That seems like that's going to happen. I don't know if sooner than later, but it is looking optimistic. I saw an article that where Gary Gensler congratulated Bitcoin on the white paper, and then he warned all the other crypto projects to, they're coming for them, something like that. Yeah, in terms of the ratio here, it does seem like we're going to have some problems. It does seem like crypto wants to continue being optimistic. If the ETF gets approved, I would be slightly worried that, that could be another top. It seems to have been the case that when some major inclusion in the financial world happens, that does tend to correlate with the top. So yeah, I just wouldn't expect too much from the ratio here at the moment. We talked a little bit about this last week, but we'll cover it once more here. This is the market cap, the XMR market cap dominance, and we still have a kind of head and shoulders in play here. But it's really like we talked about, we really needed to break this line. We needed to hold above here, and that would be like basically the confirmation that the head and shoulders is in play. So that's like the final confirmation there, and we didn't get that. Instead, we broke down from that line. Now, again, things could continue bumping up against here and then break later. And because this is such a very large pattern for the past really almost 3 years now, this is not invalidated, but it would be better if we saw this thing come to the upside, break to the upside. So we'll just have to wait weeks and perhaps months until this thing decides to do whatever it's going to do. Head and shoulders don't always have to play out. I've noticed lately they seem to work pretty well. But it's always kind of like a probabilities thing. And at best, you're looking at probabilities of getting on the right side of various chart patterns. And you're hoping that those probabilities play out. And at worst, it's more like tea leaves. So you kind of have to understand which markets you're looking at, and like the opportunities and moments where things can break, where like the picture is fuzzy, things aren't lining up, and you say, well, it's probably lower probability. It's probably closer to tea leaves. Or in the case of like 2021, when sort of everything lined up, or earlier this year, everything lined up in January, you're like, no, it's time to go. Okay, so here is the divergences, really just basically oscillating around zero. Again, so Binance looks like it's coming back into play. There was a period of time where it looked like KuCoin And it still kind of looks like Qcoin is now making big movements. So I do wonder, like crypto insiders, et cetera, like we know Binance fakes their volume, shit like that. So I wonder if they're going to kind of move some of that stuff to a new exchange. Maybe it's Qcoin. I don't know. But Binance is going to have to be on better behavior from here on out. But, that I wouldn't expect that to necessarily stop the crypto cabal. And we need those guys to pump our bags, even and including Monero. Not exactly. I mean, they'll try and like suppress our price, but, we're going to go along with the rest of the market as the market goes up. So let's go to Bitcoin. Take a look. First of all, down here, you can see the GBTC premium. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit. I always forget that it's hard to see these charts on 1080p. Okay, so on the bottom here is the GBTC premium. You can see that continues to close now at minus 14%. So even on like GBTC, the ticker on the NASDAQ, which is not, all right, it's only based on the Grayscale Trust. It's not based on a proper spot ETF. So they can't really balance their books in such a way to peg the price properly to Bitcoin. So that's why you see this divergence. They can't actually sell Bitcoin. So right now, this ETF, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is trading at a minus 14% to its actual value, to the net asset value of the Bitcoin that they hold in this trust. So this has been closing. This is something that absolutely must happen if we think a bull market is going to happen. It's just, with it being negative, even just psychologically, it's like, okay, there's institutional FOMO and they're going to buy our bags. Sure they are. Then why is this trading at minus 14% to the spot price of Bitcoin? If there was institutional FOMO, you should see a bunch of like finance bros coming in here to buy this up at a free 14% spread. I'm almost kind of surprised at this moment that it hasn't closed to zero, because at the moment, with the ETFs looking the way they are, this almost looks like a free 14%. But who knows, right? Who knows? There's probably some explanation, and I just don't know what it is. Okay, so here's the Bitcoin price, and you can see that in sort of a big picture, we've got since the end of last year, really for the past year, we've got this this line right here. It's a resistance line, and then you could also draw it like this. So we're kind of like in this zone, basically. We're like chilling out in this zone on our way up. I say our, I don't know how much I really hold Bitcoin, a little bit here and there, because of the liquidity, because everybody uses it. But what we're looking at here is like the promise, the potential that this rising resistance could get broken. And in a bull market, you do break rising resistance to the upside. So you'll notice that sort of like the big horizontal area of significance would be drawn right around here, around the 48,000 area. It does very much look like Bitcoin wants to do that. Like you've got the sentiment that's there. You've got the stock market is running. You have liquidity getting pumped into the market still, like from the reverse repos, for example, and of course the government printing a cool trillion or so every quarter. So like all of the things are looking like this could really happen. So, and then you'll notice also that previously kind of like, okay, we bumped up, and then fell, but that was also, there was a wedge pattern here. And that was a pretty clear wedge pattern amidst a situation that, that liquidity was still contracting. So it was easy to say that was going to go down there. That was like last year in August. But then we only like just barely wick touched that line, but now we're like sitting here bump, like just hanging up at the top of this line. This is exactly the kind of thing you would want to see to think that you could break this line. So Bitcoin looking optimistic still, markets still looking optimistic. Like, so for example, we've got a number of different shit coins here. Well, some of them shit, some of them just coins. And yeah, I mean, you'll see that FTT had this big, massive pump because there's the speculation that they're going to reform the exchange. They're going to put someone new on top of it. People are going to get repaid, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like in positive times of happiness and exuberance, or the path leading to exuberance, people just say, oh shit, FTT token, they just make a comeback. The cases are resolved and we're going to get the ETF, Bitcoin, and then Ethereum. And yeah, FTT is probably going to pump. So everyone just kind of says that. And then even if they don't, like insiders can just like start pumping the coin and then just dump on everyone. Like, so they massively pump it and then everyone gets excited. They buy into it and then they dump their bags when liquidity comes into the market. You'll see that Link is still like basically top performer here. There are other coins though, like don't get me wrong, I don't think I put Sol on here. Why didn't I put Sol? That's another big one. That's like that was a Sam Bankman pumped token. XMR is in red. because Bitcoin already had kind of orange. I tried to make it burnt orange. I'm sorry, I didn't be true to our colors here, but you can see the red. So overall, XMR is actually doing pretty well relative to itself and relative to the pack. Litecoin still kind of at the bottom of the market. BNB at the bottom of the market. With BNB getting resolved, like with Binance getting resolved, maybe there's the potential that BNB could like be the next big pump here coming up. I probably won't bet on that. I'll probably just keep the positions I have and then look for exit opportunities if we get to like very clear levels. So for example, like Bitcoin getting to the 48,000 area, 45 to, say 50, to me, that's a very clear exit area. If you're a long-term trader, you take profit right there. You hope for a better reentry. If you're wrong, and it continues like going to the moon, then okay, you just say, all right, well, I was wrong and I'm going to have to buy higher. But I mean, that's the danger of being a trader, right? Which is why people hodl. And the easiest times to me are the bottom of the market and the top of the market, right? Like we have big statistical metrics we can look at. You've got macro liquidity situation that you can examine. The picture is very clear to me at the bottom and the top, but it's the interim. It's the in-between that's a little bit harder to tell, right? Because you might have less liquidity, so it might be easier to move the market one direction or the other. So you can see bigger, wilder swings when you're sort of in the interim. Really, I think your best bet, your best strategy personally is to try and identify those massive macro trends and then DCA in and DCA out. So 45,000, 50,000, that's a point to me. That's an opportunity that you can DCA out. If for no other reason, then that is very likely to be a big point of resistance. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the stable coins because we haven't looked at them in a while. So here we go. Green is USDT, the market cap of USDT, and then white is the market cap of USDC. So interestingly enough, the stablecoin dominance has been rising. Sorry, not dominance. The stablecoin, the USDT, like total market cap is now above its all-time high when Bitcoin was at 65, 70K in 2021. So I find that interesting. And, how much can we really believe that this is real? Probably a significant amount of it is real. Like there's probably China demand. There's probably this and that. And, it does. I do still kind of like the idea, the theory that it's probably hard to exit out of USDT. I know that Bitfinex will be like, we always redeem and we're so good about that. And they probably mostly only redeem to themselves and their friends and give everyone else shit. It's like, oh, you want to buy our coin here? We'll sell it to you. No KYC, no problems. But you want to exit the coin? Oh, suddenly we follow the law here, and you've got to provide, everything. Like, all right, I won't be lewd today, but they're gonna like bump up the extra KYC requirements, and exchanges have all been known to do this. Like, it's like the it's the Doge versus the buff Doge meme, where it's like if you want to get in, like, oh, well, it's fine. You can just buy. We barely KYC you hardly at all. But if you want to get out, well, then we're going to require like one level after another of proving who you are. And it's not always the case that they always do that, but I think they selectively do that, right? Because you can't do it to everyone because then everyone gets pissed off. But if you do it to a select few people, you can make a slight difference there in the exit in the competition for exit liquidity. Okay, so anyways, the idea here is that USDC people are selling off USDC because you can actually redeem it, and then so that market cap is going down, whereas USDT has the opportunity to keep pumping their own market cap. So let's take a look really quickly here at the Bitcoin, like the 1 hour. Oops, there we go. Bitcoin 1 hour chart. So basically, things are continuing up in this rising channel here. You'll notice, so these are parallel lines, right? So this is the reason that it's drawn this way. I know that like this line right here, you're kind of like the very top line, like, wait, hang on, but it broke through and it's all dirty. And why is that line, there's only those 2 points. The reason is because this parallel channel is about the best way. It's like close to the best fit. You would draw this line. Did I do the numerical analysis to prove and say this is the best fit line? No, I didn't do that for this, but you can basically eyeball it and get close enough. So, I mean, again, like you think, okay, you want to see this eventually break to the upside. We sort of had this situation all year long where Bitcoin like had the opportunity to break through rising resistance, and it just continually had troubles where it would pump up to the upside. It looks like it's going to break, and then it would fall back down. So I don't like that. I don't like exactly that it looks kind of like that, right? Where we had the same story for the entire year where it's like, we're going to break rising resistance and keep going. And then you just like bleed out. But at a minimum, at least in this case, things have continued to follow the upwards channel. and have not bled out. Things have not gone on a long downturn. So, I mean, just overall, like the picture looks like the targets are obvious. Like you want to get there. You're going to try and reach for 45. The ETF's coming maybe sooner than later. Who knows? The Binance stuff is now resolved, right? Because there was this big concern that, okay, are they going to like take down Binance? Because the takedown of Binance would have been massively price negative. Now, CZ's got to come up with $4 billion. So maybe that's slightly price negative in and of itself. But I mean, I got to believe that they can come up with that money somehow. I think I saw, and I didn't verify it, but someone was like, yeah, like the day after he settled, there was like this big movement, or maybe it was like the day before. There was this big movement of Tether to the tune of $4 billion, which is kind of like how when the New York Attorney General fined Bitfinex $18.1 million, the very next day they printed $18.1 million of Tether, presumably to pay the fine. You're like, wow, that's funny. They just fined you for printing fake Tether, so you printed fake Tether to pay the fine. You gotta love the hilarity of that. At least we can laugh at the troll that Paolo really is, even though he's kind of a bit of a scammer. But whatever. Like I think the whole fact of the Tether mechanism and everything, that is a form of leverage that helps to pump the price, and that really pumps your bags up. And if you're smart enough to exit at the top of those leverage bubbles, like that's massively lucrative, and they know it. So I think it's negative for adoption because people that get wrecked above 50,000 and have to wait 2 years to get their money back, those people, a lot of them leave and they never come back. It would be better if we slowly, steadily gained. And what's crazy is that I think it was I can't remember his name, Giancarlo Devasini, like the guy that actually is like top dog at Tether, because Paulo is just the CTO. But the guy like on bitcointalk.org forum in like 2012 or something like early on, he was like, these massive price spikes aren't good for adoption. It would be better if we had slow, steady gains like the stock market. And I was like, holy shit, this guy, like, that's interesting that he really, that he would have said that. And now he's like now he's the CEO of Tether, one of like the big owners. Okay, anyways, yet I digress. Here we are on gold, and gold has basically recovered. We hit this line. It was kind of like the line you sort of expect, sort of a topping line. Not a topping line, but a spot for resistance. Things are back here again, after coming down. Probably this is going to break to the upside. I wouldn't expect gold to necessarily just like immediately take off. But if it does, that tells us that we're probably like, if gold really like breaks to new all-time highs, that tells us we are in a new bull market. And there will be pullbacks along the way, but it tells us we're in a new bull market. I'm actually starting to get pretty concerned that inflation is going to make a big return. Funny enough, a big bull market could actually delay the return of inflation, because if everyone sees that, what are they going to do? They're going to keep their money in the stock market. They're not going to sell their stuff. They're not going to, go buy new cars and stuff. They're going to be like, shit, I can make a 2x, a 5x, a 10x here. I better be in the market. I better take out a loan, which has the effect of printing money. And of course, those loans get pumped into the market. So, we could get into another bull market, and we could have sort of like a hiatus on inflation. And you'll notice last time what happened, we had a massive run on everything after COVID. And then, and we had very little inflation until like right at the end of 2021, it started, getting to be a problem. And then it was just like terrible inflation, even as the markets were crashing. So I would expect a similar thing to play out here, that the inflation will probably be generally not going too crazy. I mean, there's always inflation. The prices are never coming back down. You're still like readjusting mentally to the new prices, to the new level. But, anyway, so the point is here that if gold starts making a big run to the upside, that's a very big clue to us that a new bull market is in progress. In terms of the chart, you would kind of expect this thing to get up here, maybe spend some time doing that, and then break to the upside. But things don't always have to unfold like that, right? Like things can unfold in interesting ways. Like gold could do this, that, and then that, right? Like, and that could happen early next year. That could happen mid next year, or maybe this thing, does that and waits until almost 2025. So in terms of like the 4-year cycle, you would say that, well, 2025 would be like the big year, the headliner year that usually stuff happens, things start making their crazy big gains beyond their previous all-time highs. But things don't have to look exactly like they did the previous time. So, finishing up here pretty soon, we've got the reverse repos, and this thing continues to just dump to the downside. I read an interesting thread that talked about that the Fed is basically, they're having the U.S. Treasury, the government, the Fed, all of them. The last Treasury sale that they did, I think it was about a month ago, they had significant problems. Like, no one wanted to buy their shit ass debt. So what they're saying is that, what this guy was saying is that all of this money parked at the reverse repo is getting less percentage than you would on like a short-term bond. So here's the bonds, for example, and you'll notice, so the white here is the overnight federal funds rate. The reverse repo rate is slightly below that. So you'll notice that you could be in a 1 year. Let's take a look, make sure we get this right. A 6 month. Let's see. Let's just make sure which one this is. You could be in at least like a 6 month or a 1 year bond and still getting like a higher rate. So what he's saying is that basically they're encouraging people that are holding at the reverse repo facility to swap that out for treasuries, right? To sort of make up the shortfall that the government can't sell enough treasuries to meet their needs. So probably a lot of that is continuing, like that liquidity coming into the market is continuing to drive the bull market. That's I wouldn't call this like a necessarily a macro bull market yet. You basically have to break all-time highs to really claim that it's a macro bull market. But this is the NASDAQ right here. In green is the U.S. liquidity, right? So that takes into account like everything, right? We're talking M2, reverse repos, the Treasury balance sheet, the Federal Reserve balance sheet. So even though the Federal Reserve is still kind of contracting their balance sheet, a lot of liquidity is still flooding into the market, which is probably a big thing that explains this big rise in the stock market. So as long as these mechanisms continue to unfold, it seems like the macro picture would say that the direction is up. That's just seems to be the case. And you'll notice, funny enough, like energy, oil still doing relatively okay. $75 like for a barrel of oil. That's not bad. That's what we've been like. You can see that historically for the last really 2 decades, just about, we're slightly. No, I mean, we're in trend. Like we're basically in trend. Okay, yeah, you had the crazy crash down here, but overall, like this is middle of the road for the past 2 decades on the price of oil. So I mean, just the big macro picture right now, just things look like they want to continue going up. I think that's about all. Unless let me just check a couple more things. Yeah,
I saw a lot of people pumping Xano this week in the privacy tech community.
I don't know. I mean, I have a confession. I don't really pay much attention to too much else going on in the privacy coin world. It's like, listen, I want to see Monero adopted. Like Monero's the best version of a privacy coin that we have right now. And we need a Schelling point. We're already divided enough. We're already small enough. Like if and when Monero is adopted at, let's just say the same level as Bitcoin. And, there's like, it's just broadly used, then okay, like let's explore other coins. But, for the meantime, we don't need them. Like Monero functions really well. I can't see why I would use Xano. What did you see?
Well, people have just been talking about it this week. Xano does some things different. It's different than Monero, right? Monero is trying to be purely digital cash. Xano
It's got some kind of hybrid, like
they're building confidential assets. Yeah, they're hybrid proof of work, proof of stake. They're kind of trending
like that, actually.
Trying to be the Ethereum of privacy coins, kind of going down that road.
I thought that was what's the
Tari? Tari? What?
No, Tari. I don't. What's up with Tari? Like, is it ever gonna?
Did it ever launch? I don't know. I would love to, have Fluffy Pony come on and talk about that. I haven't heard much about it. I heard people talking actually when I was at La BitConf last week.
Really?
One evening. No, we just ran into some hardcore Monero people, and they were talking about Tari. Like,
okay.
I can't wait till it launches.
Yeah, there was the momentary like kind of we'll just call it a misconception that Tari was going to be like Monero's layer 2. It's like, but even Rick was like, no, that's not the case. He kind of put it into that. Yeah. Which was nice to see because you're like, no, that's definitely not the case. To say that would be a bit of shilling.
Yeah, that was the original thought when it was coming out, right? That was like kind of the original meme. Like it's going to be layer 2 for Monero, and that quickly quickly realized that's not the case.
I bet you like their design was somewhat open, and they were like, well, maybe we could do this and this and that. And as they like narrowed down the design focus, they're like, no, that's really not going to be the case.
Yeah, really, its only connection to Monero is that it's merge mined with Monero, right?
Yeah,
That's
I was disappointed to see they
Monero
like
connection.
only did 1/3 merge mining. Like it was supposed to be fully merge mined, and then they like changed that.
Yeah, but Xano, as you know, I mean, the creator, the guy behind it, is the guy that's supposedly created the first implementation of the Monero software, right?
Oh, interesting.
So it's interesting from that perspective. And then I'd
Did he
say
speak at-
also interesting. Yeah, he spoke at Monerotopia. Yeah, we
Okay.
had the whole Xano team down there.
That's right.
And
I
so
really enjoyed his speech, actually. Like,
projects are like I respect their approach and what they're trying to just be an honest tech project, right? So I appreciate them for that. And they're
Yeah, I mean,
contributing.
they're trying to like accomplish a different thing. So
Yeah, I mean,
can
you
make a
gotta
note in my
you gotta
mind.
respect that. The guy who found it is the guy who originally implemented essentially the first version of Monero software. So respect to that. But
What was
it's
the news there?
and then the other interesting is you had Co work on it, right? He helped develop I think what do they call it? Zarkanium. They're basically their proof of stake method. And Co helped develop that because it was a breakthrough, right? So it was the first time in crypto to essentially be able to do proof of stake privately. So there are some interesting things, but I wouldn't say it's and if you listen to him, he has the utmost respect for Monero, Andre, because he knows it's the most successful privacy coin.
Oh wow, this thing is done. Jesus. The past 9 days, it's done.
Yeah, that's why I said to check on it. Yeah, and then I saw like Vic tweeted it out.
yeah, Vic was like buying Xano, I think, is what he was
like
saying.
double the price.
Damn it! This is
He
one that I
doubled the
should
price
not
in
have
one
missed.
transaction or something like that.
Yeah, no, you should not. You were there at Monerotopia.
I mean, he was like, he was one of the speakers I liked more. Like I was like, yeah, this guy is like, he's not being tribal. He's not like, oh, we can't do proof of stake. It's evil. He was bringing good arguments. He seemed to have like a good depth of knowledge. And I remember like at the time I was like, yeah, I should check out the Xano thing. And then somehow I guess I just dropped it in my mind.
Yeah.
Now that you see the money, you're sad.
Monero founding
I know.
father, like he's certainly somebody to respect. And he's
This is
continuing.
definitely, maybe I should still YOLO something onto this anyways. Like 3x is nothing for a new coin. I mean, this thing just started trading in
near
July.
the bottom. That must have been Vic's buy.
Extremely slow market cap.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? What's the market cap on this thing? It's like,
all right,
I think it's
all you sleuths out there. These 3 days are where Vic was buying. See if you can track down his address. Maybe shake him out for some Xano. Be like, yo, Vic, put Xano on the on Cake Wallet. And
I guess that's what's happening, right? If he's buying it all up.
You want me to bring that up in the next stand-up?
If he adds it like in the next month, like we'll be like, yep.
Yeah. Well, I could definitely see him moving in that direction. I think he might have mentioned it already in the past, maybe not. But I think the other big news was they're going to get listed on an exchange because they're not really listed on any major exchange. It's only what's that shitty?
CoinEx.
No. TradeOrg.
TradeOrg.
Oh. TradeOrg. I think that's like the only exchange.
Yeah, it says CoinEx and TradeOrg, just those two.
So
that probably could have been it because if they're getting out. I don't know. Do you know, buddy?
Is CoinEx what?
Is CoinEx big?
Is that like a large exchange?
It seems like it's popped up and it's been listing coins for a while now, for like the last year or so. I keep seeing it like a lot of times coins that are new that I can't find anywhere else, like a chart will be on CoinEx. So I don't know if it's big, but it seems like there's potential.
One of the largest pumps for Monero that I remember is when Monero got added to the exchanges in South Korea. That was like overnight Monero like tripled in price or something ridiculous. That was like 2017 or no, yeah, it was insane. And it was really because it had gotten added to the exchange. I mean, in retrospect, that's what it seems like. So, I mean, these small cap coins, when they get added to large exchanges, I guess it's a significant event, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like actually the past few months have really taught me something. Like I told you guys, I basically bounced out of my long-term trading stack, but I said, all right, I could be wrong. I'm not too sure. I'm not totally sure where the market's going to go. I just want to protect my stack, but I'm going to put some some small percentage of my net or my crypto net onto these like outside players that if I'm wrong, they should just bounce crazy. So
Yeah.
Link was one of them. Tau BitTensor is another one that's like, I mean, this thing has done 10x almost in the past month, like in the past 30 days, it's done almost 10x. I should have bought some Sol. I don't know why I didn't. That would have been a good, like, just, outside play. But yeah, like, so that's kind of a lesson for me. Like, shit, man, you can get some pretty sweet gains even without having your main stack in play. Xano, here's another example of that.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't gamble. It's more so because of the time, I just don't have the time, or I don't want to devote that energy to it. But in theory, it's great. Like, so is anybody successfully being like a financial advisor for crypto? Are there services being offered where you give somebody X amount of crypto and they basically manage it for you? I mean,
I'm sure there's crypto hedge funds. I've never really looked into trying to find one.
Not even hedge funds. Like you can do, right? Obviously, there's regular.
Bawdy. Can I just hire Bawdy to
right?
manage my credit?
Like if I give you, I was gonna have this conversation with you offline, but just in theory, right? This idea, this concept, is that being done? Whether it's you or somebody else, I'd have to imagine.
I'm assuming that. So first of all, yes, but most of them are probably just like deals that people make between each other, which I've seen a couple of those happen, and it's like you really better trust the person and know the person well, and even then, it could be a problem.
It's not even trust. It's like the person may, you may just end up in a scenario where like money's lost, right? And then you're like feeling bad about the situation, right? It has to be very professionally done.
The other thing too is like when it's not your money, it's easier to like you're not going to make the same decisions with other people's money as you are with your own money because the loss doesn't hurt as much.
Right. But it'd be cool to do it in like a multi-sig way, right? You have somebody managing it, and then like you have to sign for them to trade or something.
It would be cool if exchanges did something where it's like there's a login for view only. Like you can't make any trades, but you can see what's happening. So it's like, okay, if someone's managing your funds, you can log in and see all the trades that are being made so that you know that they didn't like run away with your funds. I'm sure there's got to be some companies, some corporations out there that do like crypto management of funds, stuff like that. But I don't really know of any. I've never tried to like track that down though. So.
All right. Just throwing some business ideas at you, man.
It's an interesting idea. It definitely, you need a lot of permits.
There's some iterations I feel you can do of it to kind of keep it decentral. Like maybe where you're not directly the one, placing the investments, but you're advising on a like close basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You could probably do something on like a smart contracts platform where there's a contract, people put money into it, and then you've got some kind of manager that buys, that uses the native DEX on whatever it could be Ethereum, it could be Ethereum layer 2, whatever. And then that would all be fairly transparent. You wouldn't need an exchange to do that. I mean, it's possible, it's doable. I mean, to be completely honest, for the past few months, I haven't really like. So during the run up in the bull market, and then during basically 2022, all of that rundown, I mean, I was living and breathing markets. The past few months, I really haven't been like super hardcore into markets. I mean, I check the charts every day. I spend maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, just like looking around, seeing what's going on. But I'm really not like hardcore into markets the past really maybe like 6 months even. So yeah, I mean, if it was a business, you gotta make that your life. You got to do that completely.
I hear you. I'm just looking at these. A lot of people talking now because we brought up Xano.
They're talking about Xano.
Gombat, Gombat, jump on man, jump on today. Actually, we don't even have to talk about Xano, just in general.
He seems to know the most about Xano out of any of us. So
he does. He knows a lot about Xano.
His insight would be helpful.
Yeah, jump on during viewers on stage. I also want to get his insight on Argentina and the Milei.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed Gonzat's takes on Twitter lately.
Yeah, he's on top of it. I was hoping to meet him down there in Argentina, but it didn't happen.
Secrecy.
We will keep going. Let's keep moving. We got a long show ahead. Bawdy, stick around if you can.
Will do. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bawdy, as always. All right, going on to guest segment, right?
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right, Recanman.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good to meet you.
Excited to talk to you. I didn't even know you were going to be the guest today. We spoke to some Monerokon people, and we said it'd be great to have somebody come on the show this week that can talk about the upcoming Monerokon and the fundraiser. And I didn't realize till this morning that it was you. So nice to have you on.
I just volunteered a few days ago. They were just looking for someone, so I decided to just say.
Sweet. I feel like you and I could just do a show one day too. Just we need to do a proper Monero talk. Would love to get
That's a good idea.
Starting one of these days. But yeah, in terms of Monerokon, thanks for jumping on, man. So
Sure.
give us the lowdown. Are the fundraisers still active, right?
Yeah, the fundraiser is currently still active at funding.monerokon.com. This year we're going independent funding out of the CCS due to the recent incident. We're trying to become self-sustainable, like without over-reliance on donations. So we're like using BTC Pay, and hopefully we can get some donations. I think right now we're around 6% of the goal.
6%? Okay. Yeah, let's get it up. Let's try to share the screen here.
Yeah, funding.monerokon.com is the website.
You want me to pull that up, or do you get that, Recanman?
Or Recanman, you can pull it up as well. You just hit the present button if you have it.
Oh, sure.
If you got, otherwise Tux can do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't used this before. Are you able to do it?
Yeah, I got it. No problem.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, so I haven't actually been keeping my eye on the CCS stuff since doing a show on it with Arctic Mine and Justin. What have you been keeping an eye on that? What are the latest developments? So you guys went your own funding route rather than waiting for the CCS to be figured out, whatever the new version becomes. But yeah, have you been keeping your eye on what the current thinking is in terms of direction that's going to be headed in?
So far, not that much. After the first few days, I stopped following it. But from what I see, it's just there's been a lot of back and forth. There hasn't been any consensus yet. In the Monero community channel, that's where they have these discussions. They had a meeting today, and it does not seem that there has been a consensus so far. So
yeah, I know they're talking about like multi-sig solutions and things like that, right? So I guess they just haven't figured out what exactly they want to do.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're saying that the current multi-sig is just inadequate or if they're trying to find something new. So it's been pretty confusing so far.
Hopefully something better comes along. I think
Hopefully.
Ultimately it's going to be for the best. It kind of forced an evolution to take place, which I think was needed. So let's see, Monerokon Association. So how'd you guys build this? Just curious. What are you guys using for this?
This is BTC Pay server. It's open source, and I think it has Monero support, but there was just a small tweak made to it. It's being hosted right now by myself.
Yep.
But
BTC Pay server. Nice.
Yeah. So this is really
even your little funding bar though. Is that like something you guys just built for this, or
which one? The
actual display that's showing the amount raised. What are you guys using?
I'm not sure. I think that's just part of it, but I think that is just part of the application itself. AJS, I think, made the changes, so you can ask him.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So yeah, man, tell us more about it. I mean, I was at the last one. Were you at the last one? Did we
I
meet?
was not. I'm planning to come this year. I'm very excited.
Okay,
I was
maybe
not.
you were there. Maybe you weren't. Okay, so you weren't. It was amazing. It was fantastic. So this year it's going to be at the same venue, essentially the same time of year. They're going to move it a little bit. I think make it a little earlier in June, right? Do they know the date? They do, I think, right?
So far it's been reserved for the 7 to 9 June 2024. So that's
Right.
during like the blockchain week in Prague.
Right. Yeah.
They're
and
having
so
it
I
at
was
the same venue, right?
yeah,
Yes,
at the
same
same
venue.
venue, which is a beautiful venue. I mean,
It's very nice.
it's cypherpunk or crypto anarchist headquarters of the world. it's like fantastic place. And they had the huge Monero logo in the window, which I think they've left up since.
I think they have.
It's beautiful to see them like really embracing Monero. For those like that don't really know the history, Parnelli Polis, it was the cafe there, the Bitcoin cafe was the first Bitcoin cafe in the world. That was the first place to like legitimately be out there selling something for Bitcoin in, I don't know, I guess it was like 2011. But a lot of the people involved in the project like Monero, so much so that they're allowing Monerokon to throw the conference there for the second time in a row. And they essentially allowed them to reserve it during the best possible weekend to reserve it. So it overlaps with what's the other event? They're just called Blockchain Week or something.
Yeah, I don't have so much information about that, but
Yeah.
just current during blockchain week.
And I was talking to AJ, like
Special
that's a big deal. Like, and supposedly, Ethereum usually has a very large presence during that time. So the whole Ethereum community, and I think they were angling to use this venue as well during that time. But Monerokon got it, so that's really cool. We're going to try to do a similar thing with Monerotopia. We're going to try to overlap with BitConf. It's just a good idea, right? So now, not only obviously this event, it's not going to be a Bitcoin event. It's Monerokon. Everything's focused on Monero and privacy tech. But I'm sure if it's done during this week, we're going to be pulling in people that normally wouldn't be attending Monerokon that just happen to be in the area. So that's cool. So it should be, I think, a packed event. It was a pretty good crowd last year, and I can only imagine it's probably going to be like double the size this year.
So is what the BitCon happening? It was like what, October this year, right?
It was last week. We were just there.
Oh yeah, just last week.
Yeah, so we're going to do it around the same time. They haven't settled on their date yet. We actually met with the guys that ran the conference this year at the day after BitConf. We got them to meet us for a coffee. I was like, where are you? I was like, we'll come to you no matter where you are, name it. And he was nice enough to meet with us. And Andres joined us, and we had a nice little meeting, little coffee meeting. And they're totally down to collaborate with us, or
that's awesome.
Even if we do the conference separately outside of BitConf, they'll help promote it and vice versa, right? Because we'll set it up where anybody that attends BitConf will have a free ticket to Monerotopia.
Yo, that could bring more people.
That's
to
bring a lot.
We got a lot of ideas, but I don't want to make this about Monerotopia right now because I have a ton I could talk about with that.
I was interested in if you click on the view wallet, it goes to the Rhino wallet, which I'm guessing you guys are just using 2 out of 3 multi-sig Rhino wallet.
Okay.
So Rhino is a software multi-sig.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
Rhino holds a key, and then we hold a key. But this is used as like a hot wallet for.
So you guys are showing off what the CCS should be doing. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You guys ran off
Yeah,
there.
something like that.
Sweet.
What the CCS probably should have decided on by now, but.
Yeah, so there's a cold wallet that has a few multi-sig signers, and those will hold the majority of the funds, but kind of the hot wallet, which will be used for immediate payouts, is in the Rhino wallet.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna want to do a fundraiser for I think for the Copa Monero aspect of Monerotopia. I want to fundraise the prize. So that
because you guys didn't really do any fundraising last year, did you? Or earlier this year? Did you for Monerotopia?
No, we've never done fundraising.
Yeah, no, it was entirely like
its own. We want to be self-sustainable, which I see Monerokon is talking. They want to move in that direction too, which makes sense, right? It's great that it's a community event, but these events need to be able to exist on their own, right?
Yeah, not based on the volatility of the price or
right.
how much people want to pay.
Looks like the only option is Monero, though, even though it's BTC Pay.
Yeah, it was modified by AJS. I think we just did not want to handle multiple currencies.
Well, it's a
think
Monero
we're
conference, so I
originally-
think that's only acceptable.
Yeah, it's I think we were originally like looking at accepting Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, but that was ruled out.
Oh, okay. Well, you should accept it and just exchange it into Monero. Well, are you guys holding it in Monero? You're holding your funds raised all in Monero?
So far the plan has been to hold it in Monero and then cash out what is needed for the conference into fiat currency, but then keep the rest in Monero. So just so we have the funds just in case, since it's in the future.
Yeah.
We also have the 10% volatility buffer just in case.
Oh, added into what? What does this cost? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's into the total price.
Okay. Gotcha. That's a good idea. I like that. Awesome, man. What else can we say about it at this point? So it's going to be, in June. That's another thing to mention. I mean, so if last Monerotopia was in May, right? We had it on Cinco de Mayo, and then essentially a month later was Monerokon. So it was a little intense. It was like back to back.
Yeah.
It obviously ended up being fantastic. I went to both, but I think ideally we'd be, months apart, maybe even 6 months apart. So with doing Monerotopia in Buenos Aires, we'll move it to, November, which would be like 6 months away from Monerokon, which I
That
think
was
is
probably
good.
exhausting for you guys.
Exhausting for us. I felt like we were, there's only so many resources in the Monero community, so we were like straining the community, right? I think it's better to spread it out, so each event can be the focus at that time.
They'll probably allow more people to go to both, also, since they're not so close together.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So where is Monerotopia happening? This occurrence.
We're thinking of doing it in Buenos Aires because we were just down there. Yeah, so a year from now in Buenos Aires, so it'll be their summer. We just came back. It's beautiful down there in the summer. It's fantastic. The food is amazing. The people are super chill, and it's just there's a feeling of crypto in the air. Obviously, when you're at La BitConf, but even beyond that,
Now that they get that major libertarian,
everybody knows cryptocurrency there, and everybody knows this concept of fiat being a scam. So they're all completely open to the concept of cryptocurrency and like using it, whatever you need to do.
yeah, they're probably way more open to the concept of Monero than it is a lot for like trying to convince people, about it, talk about it here, because they're probably already like so much in that system.
Exactly. I just did a show on that
to see.
With somebody from Argentina talking about that concept. Yeah, so they're ripe for adoption. So a year from now, it's gonna be a fun environment because also Milei just won the election, and so he'll be a year in at that point. It should be an interesting time to do a Monero.
Hopeful skepticism, but apparently he's already dissolving the central bank, so that's a good start.
There is an interesting. I brought this up on the show I did this week, yesterday. It's interesting though, right? Like it's very exciting that he is the president there, right? And I did not think he was going to win. I mean, this is the first time in any part of the world that we've had essentially a libertarian leader, right?
Like freely libertarian.
Yeah, there's never in any part of the world at any time in history. So
and
it's
he won by like a huge amount too.
Wow.
Like it was crazy, like 10%.
It really wasn't a vote for him. It was a vote for we'll do whatever the fuck we need to do to get out of this like fiat scam. So sure, we'll take it. It's not that everybody's a libertarian there now. So that's what people need to realize, right? So like that 60% that voted for him, they're not all like libertarians. They're just like, I'm willing to try this guy out. But we, what's interesting, when I first saw it, I tweeted out as like, this is good for Monero because, right, part of his policies is that he wants, the best money to win, right? Let monies freely compete. So not like El Salvador, where it's going to be a Bitcoin only country, right? I mean, the maxis may try to push him in that direction, but if he lives up to what he's been saying, really, it's going to be an environment where you could use whatever type of money you want, and cryptocurrency itself would be considered money. Perhaps no capital gains tax and stuff, and monies can just fairly compete. But I wonder if ultimately it's going to kind of take the gas pedal off a little bit for adoption down there, because if they move from the peso to the dollar, that need to get out of the peso doesn't really exist anymore, right?
Well,
so
I guess
it's
for
like,
them, not as much.
it feels like, all right, we have this anarcho-capitalist taking over. It's going to become crypto land. But on the other side, the need for crypto is going to become less if they move to the dollar overnight. So that's just my.
I mean, they are going from one fiat scam to another fiat scam, but a better fiat scam that's way better than theirs. So it's a great improvement for them. But the need for crypto will still be there, and I think it would be just because of how everyone how that's readily used and adopted in a lot of places. I think it'll still be easy to try to get people to use crypto, for people to accept crypto and stuff, especially compared to North America, where they don't care. They just don't care about it.
Well, you have they have the cuevas, right? The caves, they call them, where they're all over the country.
Yeah.
You can trade your pesos for dollars, or vice versa, or you could even trade crypto for dollars, right? And it's happening all over and you basically can just walk in with cash and walk out with Monero. You can walk in with Monero, walk out with cash. That's rare. There's really nowhere else in the world you can do that. In a major city, right? You can walk in, right? So that's
things.
Yeah, that's going to kind of be potentially going away if things work out as intended, right? So it's like we're hoping, we want the problem. Things will ultimately become more free market overall, but the black market will become less of a need because so I'm just being a realist when I look at it, but that's my assessment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Gombat will jump up and talk more about that. So yeah, anything else we could say about Monerokon, man? Anything else you want to put out there? When are you looking to have the funds raised by?
We're planning to incorporate or get everything ready within the next month or so. So hopefully we'd like that for the next month and a half. And we're also looking for some volunteers. We have weekly meetings on the Monero events channel and Matrix and IRC, Saturdays at 1700 UTC. So we just need a few more people to come and get together so we can get this done and hopefully be able to organize.
Sweet. And how much are the tickets going to be sold for? Do you know?
I do not know how much the tickets are going to be sold for. I think that's still being discussed. So yeah, the Monero events channel, if anyone joins, I'm pretty sure that the discussions are open about the tickets, but I have not been following the ticket price, what they're going to do regarding that.
Sure, they'll keep them pretty reasonable.
Yeah, well, it's likely the same as last year or similar.
Do a fundraiser, yeah. All right, man. Yeah, feel free to stick around. We'll move on unless there's anything else you want to say about it. To anybody out there, I'd say, yeah, if you donate if you can. They'll keep the ticket prices cheap for when the tickets come out, but I don't think they're going to come out for a while yet. And Monerokon it's going to be bigger and better. I'm fairly certain. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime, come on, and yeah, would love to. Maybe we could do a proper Monero talk at some point.
Hopefully, well, I'll talk to you in the future.
All right, thanks. Stick around if you can, and you could comment on the news and whatnot.
Going to have to go, but thank you very much.
No worries. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Good to actually meet you and talk
Bye.
to you.
Yeah. All right, Recanman.
All right, yeah, nice.
He was going to help us out with XMR Bazaar, but then Anarchio ended up doing more of the stuff himself. Anything we could say on XMR Bazaar, man? I'm so that project is a beast.
I haven't tested it yet, but it looks like a lot of the escrow tool was completely redone since I last tried it out. So
Yeah, we gotta. Me and you should give it a test with
We
him.
should.
Further iterate. All right. What else? What do we got? Let's want to do viewers on stage, and then we'll do the news.
Yeah. Sure. I'll run that.
we got 30 lit. We got a lot of live viewers today. So guys, anybody that's listening, if you can like it and share it, help us, further grow the show. Let's do it.
It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
All right, we got Shortwave Surfer.
Hey.
If you're in the backstage and you want to come on, just let me know in the private chat. What's up, Shortwave Surfer? How's it going?
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. The Monero community has been really helpful these past couple of weeks. I've done a couple of fundraisers on the bounties to Monero Social to get some accessibility issues in a couple of the Monero apps fixed. One is Monerojo. They had some unlabeled buttons with talkback accessibility, and there's a fundraiser and a pull request was done for that. So hopefully that will get merged soon. And then a non-wallet. I did a fundraiser for that, and people contributed, and we paid a dev and got some accessibility fixes in that, and it's shipped. So that's great.
Oh, sweet. But so you went and ran the fundraiser? That's awesome.
Yeah, I used the bounties.monero.social.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the Monero community contributed and stepped up, and we got a dev and paid them, and they did the work. And it's, as I said, with Anon, it's actually in the Anon wallet now, and with Monerojo, it is in a pull request and just waiting to be merged in.
Very cool. Andres, if you want to jump up and talk about that at some point, please do. Gombat, what's going on, man?
Hey there. Everything good?
Nice to hear from you. You came up a few times on the show. We spoke about Zano, and then obviously we were talking about Argentina and Milei.
Yeah. These last weeks have been quite intense. I was a volunteer. I volunteered as an election worker to help out Milei. And so yeah, that was intense. So
dude, the win you must have felt incredible when you guys won, huh? It was like
yeah. I mean, we struggled, particularly because our party didn't have the resource to make things easier, but we won anyway. So yeah, like the underdog. It's an underdog win. So that's
cheers. Hold on.
Oh, someone's mic is going crazy.
That was supposed to be applauding. I don't know.
Oh, that was your button.
Yeah,
that sounded super weird.
Yeah, it scared me.
It didn't sound like applauding at all.
Were people in the streets, man? Were you in the streets?
No, I was too tired.
After the working for the election stands. Nice.
So what do you think? What do you think of my theory? Right? I think it's like the pessimistic theory, but I'm saying like we have this anarcho-capitalist that's basically taking over Argentina, but it could ironically or unfortunately lead to the deterioration of the black markets.
Yeah, I mean, here USDT was adopted out of necessity, and that necessity is kind of going away. But I also think that we could see adoption in different manners, in a sort of more free market way. Like there will be private banks that will be able to issue their own currency, and they can issue on the blockchain. They can issue, like, for example, someone can come and issue some gold-backed crypto, and it will be able to freely compete. In this case, with the US dollar, and commerce will be able to accept it, no problem. So it might be interesting. Like, it will be interesting to see, what comes out on top. in a truly free market.
Right. And you think he'll stay true to that, allowing all these technologies to freely compete?
Yeah. He's just doubled down on his compromise to shut down the central bank. We even had Diana Mondino. His I forgot what, but she's in the government too. Speak at La BitConf, and there she confirmed that they asked her about Bitcoin legal tender, and she said that all currencies will be able to compete freely because there will be no legal tender. So that's great.
She did. Okay, she confirmed that. So you think they'll get rid of capital gains tax for? I mean, I don't even know what is the current. I have to imagine it's currently technically treated like property, although everybody's just doing their thing.
Yeah.
Will the government get rid of the capital gains tax law if there is one? I assume there is.
I think so. Based on what Diana Mondino said, and the team surrounding Javier Milei has talked about, I think so. But yeah.
Cool. Andrés.
Hello.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿cómo estás tú? Is my mic normal now today?
Yes, so much better, man. I don't know what you did.
Yes, your mic is actually fine today.
I won't touch it. Yeah. I guess we will see. I agree with Gombat Fire here. It's a tricky spot that we are in, because now basically I have mixed feelings, because I think what Milei is probably going to do with the economy is way better than the other guy. But at the same time, the economy is so distorted for the past year, even worse than it was before, that it kind of feels like Milei is gonna have to work with a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of debt in the system, a lot of money running around. So inflation is very near, and it's just, I agree with what you say, Doug. I mean, a lot of people vote for him, but basically a lot of people vote against the other guy. So in the first 2 rounds of the elections, Milei got like a very pretty solid 30% of the votes. And now he got like 20 more, I don't know, 50 something. But those are kind of long votes. At the moment that some adjustments start to appear in the economy, I have my doubts about how much people are going to peacefully endure the adjustments, which I think are totally needed. But I mean, it's up in the air, and especially in this past week or 2 weeks, I don't know how much time span happened already since the elections. We are in the limbo zone right now. We are not. I mean, Milei, he's already elected, but he's still not in office. That happens on December the 10th, which feels like a year from now. It's a lot of time. So we have no idea how much the exchange rate for the peso is gonna be.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
you could move your microphone closer if you want. It's kind of, you're really quiet right now.
I cannot get like a proper mic setup.
No, this is good. When you're close, this sounds great now.
Yeah, this is great. You could even still move it closer or turn up the volume slightly if you want.
Like you gotta,
I don't want to be like Doug. I'm just like making like.
No, he's fine right there.
I sound like a super radio host.
Do not move it. It's fine right there.
But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, it's weird because every single day, almost like every 2 hours, you have like a kind of a official announcements about who is gonna have every position in the next government. It's like, oh, the Ministry of Finance is gonna be this guy, or no, this 2 hours go by and now it's gonna be this other guy. And of course, all of them have their own history. So you think, so they're gonna do this. No, it looks like they're gonna do that. So it's kind of weird. Some announcements are official from the official office of the new president. Some announcements are like just in the media and very widespread. So until the moment that he actually he's in office. Until I would say even the next week, we have no idea what is going to happen. Because on paper, I applaud that he's still sticking to his campaign promises, right? Every moment that a journalist asks him, for example, the central bank, and they say, what are you going to do with the central bank? He still says, I'm going to fucking burn it to the ground. And that looks like refreshing because that's what he said in campaign. And sometimes politicians don't do that. And for example, we had another test of that the other day that a journalist asked him what you're going to do with the public works, public spending that is already approved for provinces or for infrastructure and all that. He simply answered, I told you there is no money. Period. Well, but I guess some provinces still need some work because the jobs that those provide. And I said, did you hear me? I told you there is no more money. So until we have more money, we are not going to do anything else.
Yeah,
I don't know
dad.
how weird that sounds for someone abroad, but for a politician saying that here, especially when the journalist is like kind of implying, well, but those are a lot of jobs in the middle that they're going to be lost. And he's saying, if I have a minister that is trying to spend more than we have, he's out. We don't have more money. So,
It's gonna get. I mean, they made it clear, right, that it's gonna get
it's
worse.
full Austrian economics sense.
Yeah.
No debt, no lending, just savings and spending.
Yeah,
that's all.
My dad thinks that all the highways will crumble in a few months.
We will have to see. I mean, they are either like they're already pretty shitty already. So that's like a very Argentinian discussion. Some people you can use the highways as the metaphor for the whole country. So people say, "Wow, now they're going to be in rumbles because the government is not going to spend anymore." And some people will reply to that, "They're already like shitty highways. How worse could they be?" Right?
Yeah, they will
and
get
then
better.
In the other side, you have maybe the market actually takes care of the highways, and then you have tolls everywhere, which is the Milei point. And then you have some people say, well, maybe that's right, but then very few Argentinians are going to be able to afford travel on those highways, and it's an endless discussion. We will see. This is my post for the last 2 weeks. It's like, we don't know. We will find out.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I was waiting for that.
We don't need roads. Exactly.
You'll be paying, micro payments with Monero
roads are a symbol of Western oppression and car culture.
True. I kind of agree with that. Yes, but we don't have very good trains either. So it's like you should have the other just to compete with the roads.
Hey, what do you guys think about Emilio Ocampo turned down the position as the head of the central bank?
Not true. I don't think that's true. Nothing official was announced. I mean, there's just so much going on, but I'm sticking to the official media, and that hasn't happened. I will be very disappointed if that were to happen, but Milei just announced that he will stick to blowing up the central bank, so that means Emilio Ocampo stays.
Yeah. I have an opinion very similar to Doug's here. I don't like dollarization. As much as I like the libertarian ethos of the whole thing, I don't want to switch from one fiat to another. Even less so, of course, it's better, the USD, than the peso. But we can do better. Even if it's worse than the USD, we can do better than the current peso. If I think if you apply the libertarian policies to the economy, you don't need to dollarize. And if you don't do the rest of the stuff and you dollarize, you are importing a new set of problems for the economy. I don't think it's a magic bullet that eliminates inflation. I don't think it solves. I think it would be very likely similar to the 90s when we have the one-to-one, which is very good for trade and very bad for jobs. So I think it's dangerous. But if people voted for the whole libertarian package, and we now have that opportunity of a kind of a blank slate somehow, it's like, okay, let's do stuff properly.
What would it be? What would it be? You're just saying crypto at that point?
Yeah, I like the freedom of currencies. I mean, the computation of currencies. I think that's a great idea, but I think you should. You should maintain the peso. I think you should maintain the peso. Yeah, I think you should make the central bank stronger, not get rid of it. Kind of like the Fed, or even better than the Fed. I mean, make it as independent as possible. Write the damn thing into the constitution if you need to. Return the powers to the central bank. And I don't know, elect the head of the central bank every 50 years. I don't care. I mean, make it as far away as the executive power as possible, you know? And of course, it's going to be worse than the USD or the euro or whatever. But it's kind of like, at least it's sovereign money somehow. But allow for freedom of currencies so people can use USD if they want. And especially so people can use crypto if they want.
Right.
Because I think crypto is very useful. I don't think crypto is only just black market opt-out money in that sense. I think it's also very useful. I mean, if when I work and I earn in crypto, is very fast, and especially Monero is very fast. It's very convenient. It's very cheap. There is no technical reason why we are not using crypto. Let's say Monero, especially Monero, which is kind of great digital cash. There is no technical reason why not to use Monero to pay for groceries every day. There is none. It works, and it works very well. So if the I agree with you that if you make everything better, it's kind of like a bear case for crypto.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with you. But at the same time, if you legalize, for example, the possibility for I don't know, an employer to pay their salaries in crypto and to earn crypto legally, with invoices, with everything, and paying taxes, maybe the employer can, for example, it's like an IT company, maybe they can work for abroad, and they get paid in crypto, and they pay their salaries in crypto here in Argentina, and therefore you eventually end up like using crypto for daily cases. And if you're already having crypto for daily cases, the jump from there to Monero is a small one. It's a very tiny one, because I believe in Monero and I think it's very practical. It's not that you're asking people to use something that is more cumbersome. It's as good or better than most alternatives, and on top of that, it's private. So it just makes sense. But I want to see a crypto adopting thing on every fucking like grocery store.
Yeah. Milei just needs to keep it so that, because right now, organically, crypto is coming there. It's coming to Argentina, right? And it's being pulled out by the society. Milei needs to keep that incentive structure there, at least for like somebody like me that would want to go to Argentina and bring Monero and get it into the system for cash, right? If those on-ramps exist and continue to exist, then there'll be a need there and people will use it. But you don't want to see that get eliminated, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to disappear. If anything, it's going to get better.
Right.
The way I understand abolishing legal tenders is that you will be able to celebrate any contract in any currency you want. So that includes salaries, that includes, whatever. It's just whatever currency you want. And if crypto is included as a currency, then yeah, I can see the case for Monero. Totally.
Remsi, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, Argentina, I think, is pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of that book, The Sovereign Individual, and that did predict Argentina would actually managed to succeed over the U.S. because the U.S.'s restrictions on cryptocurrency. I just don't understand. As far as I know, Milei has not advocated for any particular cryptocurrencies, which I think is odd.
I think that's better because
Yeah, he's staying agnostic, right? He just wants to let Go ahead, Gambit. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's up to the market. It's just free market competition. So whichever crypto comes on top, people will use it. I think that's great.
That's better than the BTC Maxi approach, right? We don't want like Max Kaiser hanging out with him being like, all right, it's Bitcoin only down here.
And the El Salvador approach.
Yeah, the El Salvador approach. And hopefully, I don't think Milei is going to let that go in that direction. I would hope.
No, because it will be against his anti-statism like policies.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
doesn't matter if it's crypto or dollars or whatever. I mean, the government should not do the Salvador thing and be the one providing you the crypto, and be the one providing you with the wallet that you should use to use the crypto that the government is providing you. Basically, paper crypto, paper Bitcoin in the case of El Salvador. So, yeah, I don't want that. I mean, it would be better than what we have now. But what I want is what Gomba says. It's just freedom of choosing your own currency and make it legal. Make it legal so we can actually... I love the black market, It's like everything is so black market here. Paper, the bills are going away. I mean, the physical bills are going away eventually, right? Even for convenience. So I want a government that makes it legal for any shop, any business owner, any employer to use crypto if they want. Don't force anyone if they want. I think crypto is better. I think Monero is one of the best of crypto ever. So I think naturally, eventually, people will adopt it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. AKN, you want to say something? Then we got to start the news over here with everybody on.
Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. So one of the things that I have been thinking a lot about when it comes to Milei's victory was a lot of people, myself included, who participate in flag theory and a few other variations thereof are going to be very interested in securing for themselves, I guess, a home away from home. But if you think of people like Jack Ma, who have just piles and piles of money that have repeatedly been oppressed by their existing government and are probably desperately looking for a way to get their capital to a free market, I think Argentina is going to find that a large swath of the avant-garde wealthy individuals are going to put their money and are also going to want to find a way to easily get their money to Argentina. And it's going to be interesting to see what the price of things like Monero are for capital controls from a place that would forbid such a thing, and how interested they'll be in being able to get their wealth to a place like Argentina. And I think that I haven't actually heard anybody discuss this. Like, what happens to people who have been restricted from getting their capital from one country to another that would now be extremely interested in getting to Argentina? And then the boon for the regional economy, not just Argentina, but there's going to be a lot of people trying to get a lot of stuff into Argentina, which is a complete 180. Argentina is very much an exporting country. And then all of a sudden, you're going to find people trying to cram stuff into Argentina. Now, what percentage of total wealth that might be, it almost doesn't matter, because the operating margin that Argentinians are living under is very small. Now, if you reduce the tax collections and increase the incoming money stream, well, Argentina is a very resource-rich place, and it has inverted weather patterns from the northern hemisphere, right? So I think that this experiment, it's important for us to consider the flow of international money at this point, and what happens to all the people who are so deeply woven into the fiat Fed note world banking system. I mean, who's going to be the first person to jump the sinking ship, right? All of those criminals with their ill-gotten gains eyeballing Argentina as a place to escape with their wealth. I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Wouldn't be the first time that some notorious criminals have escaped into Argentina.
Come on.
You know, you
Come
talk
on,
about them like
you're totally right. Come on.
Can we agree that there were no good guys in World War II? I mean, everybody wants to try to point the finger who the bad guy was, but I'm wondering who the good guy was, okay? Because it certainly wasn't anything that I've seen.
Well, some of the bad guys like just put the level of badness very high for everybody else to be
It was pretty
considered very
relative.
good. Yes. If I had to work as an advisor, like a financial advisor, let's just do the opposite of every YouTube channel. Yeah, it's not- this is financial advice. All right. I would say, yeah, if you want to buy cheap land in Argentina, buy it now. All right.
Well, I
Because
do, but you have
it's
my
going to go
attention.
up, right? But this is the big but of the whole thing. But as an Argentinian, 40 plus years old, all right.
Does
This
anyone
looks-
have any takes on, like, because there's a few countries down there like Chile, Uruguay, and Paraguay, and I think Paraguay has even been discussed on this show. I think there actually is some kind of like community of Monero people down there who are, I think, trying to get real estate cheap. So is it specifically Argentina now because of Milei, or is it just we're bullish on the whole region?
No, I think prices of property in Argentina of land has been going down for the past 5 or 6 years straight. Are like 40% lower than they were 5 years ago, right? So it's if you take that out of the equation, it's not especially cheap. Especially, I don't know, buying like an apartment in Buenos Aires is up to the levels of some big cities in the world. It's not cheap, but now it's cheaper than it was before, right? Because of the whole crisis. It looks like they are going to go up again. So if you want to get the cheapest prices, I would say buy now or buy yesterday. But the big but is this is very new. And what happens in Argentina usually is that we have a pendulum of people voting for something else, and then in 2 years, when the legislature elections come, you have like a tidal wave of opposite votes, and then in 4 years you have if you don't see like economic progress, just the same 60% of people vote for the exactly opposite guy of the spectrum, right? So now Milei will have to fix a lot of things in the economy. You're buying in the bear market with a big risk. If Milei pulls it off, you are rich. If you don't, it's like another 4 years of lower price.
That happens.
You know?
That happens in the U.S. a lot too. Actually, we get these big pendulum swings from one party to the other, where nobody can do anything because they don't have enough time to do anything, either for good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually.
I was talking about the whole. Sorry. I was talking about the whole idea of a lot of foreign capital getting into the country, because what happened with some other like types of governments that we have is that basically they made it very, very, very difficult for money to get out of the country again. So you have your investments locked, or they force you to convert to pesos, or they force you to export or import some other thing. So you have to basically you're trapped. That's why we don't have as many investments. And even if you open the whole thing tomorrow, and it looks like the best thing ever, governments have come and changed the rules again, and you're in. It's like for example, it's very well known that Argentinians as a whole are like the second or third like country that has the most the biggest amount of US dollars of dollars printed
In cash.
out. I mean, I think it was like in cash. I think it's the
Yes.
US, Russia, and Argentina, and I don't know if we are second or third.
Yeah.
it's like $300,000 million in the black market owned by Argentinians. And there is a reason why that didn't came back again as an investment in the country. So every new government proposes or hints as a law to allow for you to basically clean back, whitewash your black money if you make it into Argentina, and they can collect taxes and you can use it legally. And every time some people do a bit of that, and some people are very wary, because once you are on the white or on the clear, then when the government changes again, what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah,
You're
it's still a
stuck.
big risk. But that actually is the
So
biggest.
people wait. Let's see how the public deals with a new kind of government. Let's just wait 2 years. Let's see
Yeah, but
if it looks
this
like
is actually
sustainable.
the biggest argument for eliminating the central bank / dollarization, quote unquote, because yeah, I mean, sure, Milei could start slowly pushing for to write fixes and fix the peso and stuff, but that takes time, and we never have time, like, because in just 2 years we have the midterm elections, and Milei needs to win that if he wants to have any legislative power. So that's why they're pushing for the elimination of central bank, because once you dollarize, you solve inflation almost instantly. It has like a very quick effect, and so historically, Argentinians have voted to get the politicians that eliminated inflation, like Menem. So that's the argument that Emilio Campo makes for dollarization, because it has a quick effect, and it will allow Milei to win the midterm elections and hopefully have some more time and more power to push for the deep changes that Argentina needs.
I read something. They said that it could take maybe a year for the current inflation that's happening to actually filter through the entire Argentinian economy. And then I also read somewhere else that they said the current government is just like printing a shitload right now in between, before Milei takes office, just to kind of try and wreck things as much as possible. What do you guys think about both of those?
That's the usual thing. I think that it also happened at the last time there was a government transition.
So this is actually one of the reasons why I'm not sure that I actually agree with the assessment of people wanting to protect the capital that they invest in Argentina, with my original point about people who are like exceedingly wealthy, which is they're more willing to take a major loss on the overall value. So for example, even if real estate prices were to continue to fall, well, when you're made out of money, you pretty much just don't even care if you take a loss like that, because buying a big ranch in Argentina makes up like what, 1/100% of your wealth or whatever. And then the second thing is, I actually disagree with Doug, the idea that continued inflation or even like getting rid of the central bank or any of those various options is necessarily bad for Monero either, because Monero does have a sort of decent foothold. And the thing is if those people aren't being affected by the inflation as readily as people who are, and they're now legally sanctioned, I guess you can say, in using their Monero, and inflation is just wreaking havoc for the next year on already printed money. Meanwhile, the free public money is holding its value. The towns that have chosen to use Monero are going to see that wealth preserved. And so if you put the two together, where capital in flight is not super concerned about the losses, and then you also put into consideration the fact that free money, right, like free as in freedom, libre money, let's call it, is holding its value, and the money that came into Argentina, they're going to have to use a system like Monero if they're fleeing, Iran or Russia or whatever. That capital that came in is holding its value. It's going to make a really powerful case for doing.
I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I hope Argentina remains as accessible as it currently is in terms of moving capital into it via cryptocurrency and then into the local cash. I'm just hoping those avenues remain. Because right now, I think it's easier than ever to move capital into Argentina from a crypto Monero perspective. So I don't see that becoming easier per se. I hope it stays as good as it is. That would be my take on that.
Yeah, for a bit of context regarding to what Gombat said before, I don't know if you already mentioned this before, but Milei doesn't have a majority in Congress, right? Actually, he has a minority. So
right, so get anything done.
Actually, the ruling party right now has the biggest minority in the Congress, right? So if Milei gets together again and gets the votes of everything else that is basically not the current party, yeah, he can pass laws. But by himself and his party, he cannot pass any law. Yeah. So here you have another option, which is basically to make a presidential decree. And some stuff you can do it. You can just say fuck the Congress, right? But the more you do that, and the more you do that with big stuff, the more protests and legitimation you need from actually the public to do those changes. So even if he says the right things, his hands are still pretty much tied for big reforms that require Congress approval, like for example, dollarization or whatever, or selling public companies or stuff like that. He's like, So that's why I see, even if he has the best intentions and he remains faithful to his ideals, even we need to wait for a new wave of congressmen in 2 years to support the big changes, and those 2 years are gonna be rough because it's late. We are like putting a brakes on everything that is free spending from the government. Like
it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for the candidates that are pro Milei to win the interim election. Yes.
That's a tricky thing. I hope they succeed. I hope they find out the way. I mean, for now, for example, it's very encouraging to see people interviewed in television, answering to like tricky questions from journalists and answering in a very libertarian way, right?
Who are the? I mean, we could talk about this for days. I love how Monerotopia has become the place to go on the internet to learn about Argentina, what's going on down there in terms of Milei and cryptocurrency. And we're going to continue to talk about it for the next year for sure, because Monerotopia is going down there. So this is fantastic.
We are an experiment.
What's that?
We are running an experiment here.
We're running an experiment.
Interesting. It's just
time.
Very.
I think we should move along with the news, though, right, Tux? Or otherwise, we'll never finish.
Yeah, probably should. I'm just letting everyone talk because everyone's.
I know. Is there any last thoughts on this topic before we move on, guys? I don't want to.
I mean, I just thank God. I mean, we were so close to having a CBDC next year. I mean, I'm so thankful that it didn't happen. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
I had a question about cartels. Like in Mexico, if you want to operate a business, you really do have to consider whether the cartels are going to be a factor in your business or whether they're going to come hit you up for money. Is there like a dynamic like that in Argentina, or is that not really a problem?
I mean, I guess how do you say that? Los sindicatos. How is that translated? Maybe.
No, but okay. Unions are not the same as drug cartels.
I mean,
Sometimes
like,
they work very similar.
I'd point out that they have a raging
No.
case of government down there, which is the worst mafia of all.
yeah.
No, I mean, to answer like faithfully, besides the city of Rosario, which is a big port and is in the way, let's say, from Buenos Aires on the way to Paraguay, it is a well-known like exit port for drugs and all that. So in that specific city, they have more violence and they have more issues with cartels. We don't have cartels like in Mexico, but with drugs money. Besides that, that is one of the problems that we don't have. This is one of the few problems that we don't have. Cartels.
How about in Formosa and even?
Yeah. But it's just
protected.
like with what Gomba said. We do have very strong unions, and businesses, and especially new businesses, have to deal with union workers, and they are very fond of making strikes and setting stuff on fire and making threats to any other union that tries to negotiate with the businesses.
Yeah.
And they have some people killed as well, for sure.
This week, one of them said that if Milei wants to privatize or how it's called, aerolíneas, if he wants to privatize the state-owned flight industry, he'll have to kill them.
Oh boy!
I love how
Doug's moving
that
to
meme
Formosa.
about that meme about, well, that escalated quickly, right? Where he's like, yeah, sometimes they strike, sometimes they set things on fire, and it's like, Jesus, that was a big jump.
Yeah, but that helps to understand the local logic, because that's the official Aerolíneas Argentinas is the flight, the flight company, right? The air company of Argentina. It's owned by the government. So everybody that is against the government says all the time, "Oh, you should sell Aerolíneas because it's just spending and it doesn't make any money, it doesn't make any sense, and it's poorly run or whatever." So the first thing that they ask Milei is, "What are you gonna do with Aerolíneas? Are you gonna sell them?" And Milei just says, "No, I'm just gonna give it to the workers," which sounds like the most communist thing ever. If you say so good of a country, so good of a company, you can run it yourselves, and that's where the guy from the union says they will have to kill me to do that, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's either a good company to keep or a bad company to sell. I mean, make up your mind. No, they want it to be state-run, and they want to keep their jobs, and they don't want to make any change.
Right.
Which is a way of saying, if you want to change something, you will have to kill me. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not moving.
We're too emotional, I think.
News time.
Tux, let's move along with the news. Andres, did you have your honey today?
My honey, I haven't actually eaten the honey today. No,
I'm gonna have
my
some
honey in my fridge.
This was purchased with Monero along with many other things this past week in Argentina. I don't know if you can really see that, but
I'm still finishing my previous honey, low-seed virtual honey.
And this is actually produced. I didn't realize. So it's actually Alessandro's family that produces this. So Alessandro, guys, is the young gentleman that's running the whole football thing down there. And like the guy who got all these stores to accept Monero. One of the stores that accept Monero is his father's store, which sells the honey
business
they make on their own farm. Beautiful, amazing people, man. They're fantastic.
By the way, if nobody purchased one of those jerseys are made from like excellent material. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like they're actually really nice, high quality jerseys. For those of you who are on the fence about buying one, well, allow me to kick you off of that fence and into the buy one category because they are amazing.
I even brought back chorizo from purchase with Monero. Dude, this is the best chorizo I've ever had in my life. It is amazing.
That's sad as
chorizo. That's a salami.
As sad as this is,
my thought would be... Yeah, it is. It's dried salami.
My thought would
yeah.
be move to Argentina and be like, okay, where's the football Americana?
No, you won't find that.
No,
But
and
let's move ahead.
don't you dare saying soccer to football here.
I'm gonna have some of this honey right now.
Don't.
Yeah, that's why I
Don't.
said football Americana.
Mm.
All
Oh, yeah.
right.
Go ahead, Dogs.
News time. Let's go.
And now for our weekly news segment.
All right, let me pull my screen up here.
Wow, that was good.
Get that honey, huh? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's honey mixed with pollen. It's got the pollen particles in it, and then it's got propolio, and then it's got the royal jelly in there. It's like a mix
that's
they mix.
Fancy. Yep. Well, it's just natural. So first story we got is probably the biggest one of the week or past couple weeks is Binance CEO to step down and plead guilty in anti-money laundering probe. So CZ is going to step down as CEO of Binance, and he's going to plead guilty to violations of US AML laws and requirements. And he's going to be paying, or Binance will be paying, a $4.3 billion fine at federal court. And it's part of a deal. Part of the deal is he's also giving up his leadership role at Binance, but he'll continue to have a majority ownership of the crypto exchange. Binance is set to plead guilty to the related charges, sources added, potentially putting an end to the DOJ investigation spanning nearly 5 years. So, yeah. Binance, it finally happened. Everyone was just waiting for it. Unfortunately, the only reason they're really getting in trouble is because of, like we talked earlier, it's the wrong reasons. It's because, they're in compliance with AML, Bank Secrecy Act, all this BS, whatever. Not because we've been manipulating the market heavily for the past, 5 years or whatever and screwing customers over left and right for no reason. It's probably got little to do with that and more to do with them not complying with government laws as much as the government wants them to, even though they still have a lot of KYC, whatever. So that's Binance. And of course, the train just continues. The clown Gensler train. U.S. SEC sues Kraken for unregistered securities trading. So Kraken now, the SEC is cracking down on Kraken, which we'll see.
What you did there.
Yes, of course.
Nice.
We'll see how legitimate this ends up becoming. But Kraken, I guess, knowing for being one of the better exchanges, I don't know if any of these exchanges are like that great, but I guess the general consensus that I've understood of Kraken is that they're much less egregious than all these other ones, especially like Binance. I don't think anyone compared to Binance, but the SEC is going to try and get Kraken now after they just finished. It's like they're done with one, they're going on to the next one. They're going after Kraken for some unregistered securities trading violations and other SEC violations, probably. SEC also accused Kraken of commingling customers' funds with its own. According to the agency, Kraken held up to $5 billion of customers' cash and bank accounts and paid operational expenses from these accounts. The exchange also allegedly mixed up $33 billion of customers' crypto assets with its own assets, risking losses. So the SEC's lawsuit hinges on cryptocurrencies like BTC, Ethereum, Tether, and the like being securities. U.S. Congress hasn't passed a firm law classifying cryptocurrencies as securities, but the SEC asserts they meet the legal definitions of securities. So yeah, that's the SEC just going ahead and doing whatever the hell it wants, as usual. We'll see what happens with this. Of course, this will probably be drawn out for another 3-4 years, whatever. Next up, we've got some updates to Cake Wallet. So this is a smaller update, just a bunch of fixes and bug enhancements. But I did get the go ahead from Vic for announcing in a week or two we will have Polyseed support for Monero that is creating and restoring Monero Polyseed. So that's a cool feature. That'll be out soon.
What is
and
that?
we have Monero Polyseed instead of 24 pneumatic seed, it's a 12-word seed.
Okay.
And it allows it to also have extra data in there, like containing the block height, if I remember correctly.
Oh, interesting.
Within the seed itself, something like that. if I remember, there's like let me see. I actually want to make sure I understand this correctly.
And what were the recent coin control fixes?
Just bug fixes. I don't exactly know what the bug fix was, but
Speaking of Cake Wallet, did you guys know that the F-Droid repo is kind of screwed up? Because apparently, like, it'll add on Droidify and some other F-Droid clients, but on the main F-Droid client, it will not add. It gives an error.
yeah, I think someone had reported that initially, and one of our guys was looking into that. We're not sure exactly what's going on. It's possible there's something weird with the official client, because the official client is not like maintained really, and the other ones are. So we'll have to figure out what's going on with that.
The official client's maintained.
The old one or the new one? Because there's like an old one, and then there's like a kind of like a lighter version that is actually maintained.
Both actually. Both the F-Droid and what's called F-Droid Basic are both maintained. They've just gotten updates here recently. They're on like an alpha 2 or whatever for version 1.19.0 released just a couple of days ago.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what the deal with that is, but we'll figure something out at some point. But yeah, there'll be some other big features coming in the next few weeks that I can't talk about. So,
all right. If Cake's implementation of policy is the same that is on Feather Wallet, then yes,
it is.
It does contain the restore height, which is very, very useful.
That is super useful. And was I wrong saying, I think, was it 12 or 16 for Monero Polyseed?
I think it's 14. 14.
Oh, 14. Okay. Yeah, it's the same one.
Now, how would it work? Let's say you want to down the road restore your Monero from something other than Cake Wallet, like from the actual like Monero client or something. Would you be able to use Polyseed to do that?
Yeah.
You can do it on Feather Wallet.
Yeah, Feather Wallet supports Polyseed. I don't know if there's any other. Does the Monero GUI or Monero CLI?
I don't know if there is a translator or something like a that you can convert one seed into the other.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
But I don't see any downsides really for policies. So eventually it's gonna be adopted, I guess.
It'll be universally adopted. Okay.
Yeah, and it's way shorter. It's 14 words against 25.
Yeah. Much easier.
Yeah.
Much easier to write.
The Anon wallet supports Polyseed as well. I want to say it's 16 words, but it definitely.
Actually, you're right. I just found Temperator's Polyseed repository. It is 16 versus 25 and supports an embedded wallet birthday to optimize restoring from the seed. I believe
that's
I
can't
really 100% cool. say if Cake Wallet's going to actually utilize that in the initial support. I think so. I can't 100%. I'm not 100% sure. But supports encryption by a passphrase, can store up to 3 custom bits, advanced checksum. Seeds are incompatible with different coins. So it's a large improvement over the basic 25-word pneumatic seed.
And what's nice is Feather supports this, Anon supports this, and now Cake will support this. And you should be able to go between one and the other. So if you're going to a wallet that needs a 25-word seed, there should be a way within the wallet to get the 25-word seed and the Polyseed as well, so you can see both.
Mm-hmm.
And each wallet, and like Anon, for example, can restore from a Polyseed or a 25-word seed. And I assume Cake will be the same way, that you can restore from either.
Yeah,
there'll be an option on both wallet creation to choose which one you want to use, and on restore, of course. So if you don't want to use pneumatic, then you can still use, or if you don't use Polyseed, you can still use the older 25-word pneumatic if you want to create a wallet with that. But yeah, so that's cool. And that's not in this update, of course. That'll be a later update in a week or two. But next up, we've got a post from Untraceable, just talking about Yellen's basically just, I guess, threats to the crypto industry. I'll show this little video here.
And let me be clear. We're also sending a message to the virtual currency industry more broadly today and for the future.
Bring it.
Global currency exchanges and financial technology firms wish to realize the tremendous benefits of being part of the U.S. financial system and serving U.S. customers. They must play by the rules. And if they do not, the U.S. government will take action.
Dun dun dun.
I was
So
talking
my
about mob.
So my
Give
first
back
my first thought is the benefits of being in the U.S. financial system. I don't see a whole lot of benefits.
Yeah.
Right? This is
I
the
mean,
first problem.
other than the U.S. market, everything else is a pain in the ass.
I mean, it seems like you should. It seems like if you're a crypto person, you should just stay far, far away from the U.S. Like that seems like the best
point
option.
out, like, did anybody notice how those people, like, if you were just in a room full of people, right? And there's, you know, this guy over here, he's sitting at the bar, smiling, talking, have a good time, and there's that guy over there who's up to something cool. You know, those people who just look absolutely fucking miserable, right? And nobody would ever want to go hang out with them. Look at the facial expressions on all four of those people. Like, they're the most unhappy human beings you've ever seen in your entire life. Like, there is no fucking way that any rational human being would go over there and say, like, hey, let's do. Everybody would go over there and be like, would somebody just kill your kids? Or like, just, I mean, they look like they're at a fucking funeral, right? It's just like the most miserable people ever. And then that chick like kept like touching her face and hair like she's anxious about being like the person that nobody wants to hang out with, the one right behind Janet Yellen, right?
Yeah.
Like she just keeps like trying to hide her face with her hands. And if you ever do like, yeah, if you ever do body interpretation, right? Like the semantic body interpretation, like she is absolutely grieving over her participation in what is going on right now. These people always look like they act, and it's, you know, the whole idea of you can totally judge a book by its cover. Like that chick she knows she's the bad guy, right? But I digress. I'm just saying they're the most miserable people I've ever seen in my life. Like they're never smiling. They never have anything positive to say. They're like super verbose about what they're trying to do because they're hiding the fact that they are the tyrants. Right? They can't just be like, we're gonna ban. They can't be like, we're gonna ban crypto. They have to be like, you want to participate in the financial system, you're just gonna have to. And it's like that kid in recess that's always like snitching to the principal or whatever. Like they're just the most horrible people to be around. And it's like, why do these people even get to talk for us in the first place? Nobody acts like that. Like no normal human being is
like, at least like if they're going to be evil, they could at least enjoy it.
Yeah, you'd think that they would learn from their master, the devil, and at least be fun about it, right? Like it's at least you get the 2-week coke bender before your life falls apart if you like really commit to evil, you know. But like these guys can't even like be happy about being the bad guys. They're just so miserable all the time.
Like that Obama, the former national security guy that was threatening that Egyptian guy, he was like really enjoying like the evil that he was doing at that moment, like threatening to deport him and take his picture and send it to Egyptian authorities. He was like happy about it. Like that's what I expect, you know, evil people to be, not like sad and somber.
Yeah,
like
let's bring back the old evil, like when Hillary Clinton is like, we came, we saw, he died. Or like when Bush is like, no weapons under there, and everybody starts laughing. Oh, no weapons under there, and everybody starts laughing. Now they're just like beaten, battered, abused, miserable people. It's like I like the fun evil guys.
Bring back the fun evil guys.
Yeah. What about
make evil great again? That's all I'm saying. Make evil great again.
Own nothing and be happy. These guys,
they look
these
very
guys own
sad,
everything and they're unhappy.
They're telling you, if
like
you
Gary
don't
Gensler,
behave, you are not coming to our party.
Oh man,
that's what I mean right there. Like that's the meme right there. They always play their role, right? Like the tier 2 bad guys like Yellen who work for Mr. Burns here. You know, it's like in the work for the banking system. At least the bankers are having a good time being a living nightmare and scourge on humanity. Like, I mean, just own it, bro. You know, just
you
own
can
it.
see it in Gensler's face all the time. He enjoys what he does.
he
He
loves
fucking
it
loves
so
it.
much.
How many kids have I starved today?
I'm a tyrant and I'm happy about it.
On the other side, they really are like the meme of the guy just weeping their tears with money. It's like, oh, I'm so shitty. And they have so much money. They are earning so much money by just being there.
All right, let's keep moving, Tux.
All right. This is just one more part of this thread. But today, 50% of Bitcoin hash rate is KYC'd. Transactions recently started being censored by miners again, and privacy is under attack. Yep, that's Ant Pool, that really large pool, and I think both this and Foundry both do the KYC. And I guess these others don't yet, but some of them might soon. So yeah, that's the state of Bitcoin.
And we recently saw some like the transactions that were left out of
I think
being
it was
validated.
I think it was F2 Pool that would do it. That was doing that, and they they backtracked or whatever.
OFAC compliant. Yeah,
it was an OFAC thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
were
a
censoring
article for that
OFAC
later, so we'll talk about that later.
All right.
So Redain, who runs Kuno right now, he put an admin warning for a couple fundraisers, I guess, that are sketchy. So if you scroll down on the pages for the fundraisers, there'll be like a warning if it's been like potentially an obvious scam. He didn't take them down or prevent you from donating to them, whatever. It's just kind of a warning for some obvious scammy standouts, I guess.
I just love that Kuno's.
Here's that article.
So much.
No, yeah, Kuno's awesome. And Erica did a really good job on it.
You're gonna get scammed. You're gonna get a lot of scams on there. So just be vigilant.
Yeah.
See, I like that though. Like they put there's a warning like, hey, this might be a scam. This looks like what other scams look like. You know, if you do it at your own risk, and people still get to do it if they wish to.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
It's like that. You know those memes on places on the internet that I dare not speak publicly about, like, let kids decide when they're old enough to drink and drive, or would you rather have a smoking kid or a dead kid sort of deal? Like, just like these horrible ideas that just like catch on like wildfire. You know, it's sometimes like the scammy stuff becomes a meme that's like stands in total opposition to tyranny in the most ironic ways, right? And just the fact that you can go on the internet and fund an absolute like backwards scam completely like unbridled is a powerful message of, you know, people should be free to do what they want with their money. And as soon as anybody's like, well, Kuno funds these scams, you just point at like the state lotteries or whatever and just be like, hey, wait a minute now.
All right, so here are those missing transactions. My Mining Pool Observer Project recently reported 6 OFAC-sanctioned transactions as missing from blocks. 4 of these transactions were likely filtered by F2 Pool. This is the first filtering based on OFAC sanctions I've seen. And that page goes to here, which goes into much greater depth talking about this. And it appears that it might be the first pool from Asia to comply with U.S. sanctions law. So they're already trying to, these really large pools that have a decent amount of power are already trying to censor transactions. So it's not looking too great for Bitcoin and its decentralization. But of course, you can look and read this and get a greater depth at what exactly is going on. But yeah, that's not great, not ideal. And this is interesting. I didn't know about this earlier this week. Apparently, Sideshift has removed Monero from their platform with no prior notice at all, which sucks because we have Sideshift in Cake Wallet. So I guess Cicada Wallet only had Sideshift in their wallet, and now they don't have something you can use to swap with Monero in there. So that's a little bit disappointing.
Sideshift as well.
Trocador uses Sideshift? Yeah, I think it's one of the options, right?
I think Monerujo does.
Monerujo. Is that true, Andreas?
Yes, it
Yeah.
sadly is still truth. I mean, they haven't. They got rid of the. This is not news, actually. I don't know
Oh, okay.
why is news for Cicada. I had no idea that Cicada was using Sideshift, but for months, Sideshift removed the XMR pair from their website.
A while ago, yeah.
But it looked at first we didn't notice because it looked like it worked on Moneruko on the API, and after that they say that they will keep supporting like users of Moneruko, but that's the moment that we started working on alternatives because, I mean, it's not
So eventually,
sustainable,
did they
and
just shut it down for the API also?
probably yes.
Because
But,
I've
I
tried. I
mean,
tried it on
yeah,
Cakewallet earlier, and it
it's
didn't work.
supposed to be working, for example, but you get one of every 3 transactions went through. The other just gives an error. It's shitty
I see.
experience.
That's a shame. Yeah, that kind
Yeah.
of sucks. Because I don't think they were. There's like all these people are acting out of like not actual legal pressure. I think to be
I
like.
have no idea, but we had no prior notice from their side at all.
That's interesting.
So
Well,
I
we
just
got
wanted
other
to
good
throw
options.
out real quick on the previous story about censored transactions. And I have kind of a theory, but I think it would be best elaborated if I throw it out there. Maybe Bawdy wants to think about it first, but my theory is that from an economic standpoint, they have a very tight window to test the OFAC compliance systems that they've put in place, to try to, number one, make sure that the technology works and that the pressure works. But then once they have like a working model on Bitcoin, try to extrapolate what they've learned for its application to their real targets, which I would imagine Monero is one of those real targets. But basically, this principle of being able to censor transactions with pressure is like trying to figure out what percentage of miners would have to be able to censor transactions to reliably like oppress the efficacy of the systems. And the other thing is, I mean, not necessarily exactly Sideshift, but some of the liquidity between different cryptos plays into that. So the two stories together, right? Like in order to place these systems of like trying to have OFAC compliance, shutting down certain things from being mined or added to the chain in any way, and then any means by which you would move that liquidity across different chains. I think that basically the people who would stand to gain the most from preventing certain transactions from going through, they probably know that the technology is so rapidly outpacing the ability to control it that they might not have even been ready to try to censor transactions, but they don't have a choice.
So I think you're spot on about about their end goals and the kinds of censorship that they want to accomplish. This isn't just about preventing a few terrorists with Bitcoin on OFAC. This is the slow progressive creep that the government modus operandi does. I do wonder if they can actually get some kind of robust censorship mechanism onto Bitcoin. How much can they expand that? Can they identify atomic swaps into Bitcoin? How much can they stop coin joins, right? Even though coin joins have some problems, et cetera, like it's still better than having no privacy on Bitcoin. I do think that I don't think it's that Bitcoin's going to be able to stop this sort of slow roll lava push that the government has already done. Like people have already kind of resolved to sell out to BlackRock and the ETF and institutional FOMO all that stuff, reserve asset, right? These are the narratives you hear in Bitcoin now. So the people there are largely ready to become a reserve asset for that number go up component.
This is good for Bitcoin.
This is yeah, exactly. No matter what happens, it's going to be good for Bitcoin. So I think that in my mind, just as a wag, like not even a scientific wild ass guess, just a wild ass guess, I would say 60% of the hash power existing in jurisdictions that that are Western friendly, basically. So Europe, EU, United States, Canada, maybe Ireland, UK, stuff like that. And I think the last time I checked, which was actually just a few days ago, it looked to me like there was about maybe it's like 55% in those jurisdictions. So if you control 60% of the hash power, then what you can effectively do is orphan blocks that have transactions that aren't supposed to be there. Now, right now, again, like we saw the teaser with the Marathon Digital, they're like, we're going to not include these in our own blocks. And now it's Antpool. Is it Antpool? I think it is. That was not including these OFAC transactions. So the question is like, how quickly is that going to come? My guess is that they won't really try to put those caps on until after the bull market, or maybe like as the next bull market is like, significantly in progress. But that's the thing. Like, even if you're a miner that would include censored transactions, if 60% of the hash power, if they're just going to orphan your block, most likely you're going to also censor as well. Like you can't, smaller miners can't accept not getting blocks like that. Like they'll just go under. So I do think like that's a danger that's happening. And I think it's another reason why the cabal wants to keep, I think Bitcoiners in terms of number go up and number one market cap. I think Bitcoin is like, has a solid position to stay number one or maybe number two, because keeping the liquidity there makes it harder, right, to get into Monero. If they can make surveillance, if they can make censorship, it's going to make it harder to use coins like Monero in that liquidity swap kind of situation you were talking about. So those would be my thoughts.
And that's kind of why I was saying like the gate is closing on these people, because like that level of control, right? And knowing that it's my opinion that these people who are actually like imposing these, they're not dumb, right? And that when they're wargaming out, like doing something like that this early, right? It stands to push the never-ending like tide of innovation. It only pushes people to do getting out of those kinds of transaction systems faster. Whereas if they could have like cemented a little bit further Bitcoin's dominance and then exercised these levels of control, it would have served their purposes so much better, right? Because ideally they would have, at least in most nations, a CBDC style system, and even make it where you could go from Bitcoin to CBDC, at least for a while, in order to basically like replace the exchanges. And look, they started going after the exchanges, right? Like that was probably part of the grand scheme. But the problem is, they're going after the exchanges, but they're also simultaneously outing themselves as, we can orphan your blocks. And as long as it's one of these transparent Fed coins like Bitcoin, right? Because that's what it has become. What they're doing is they're ruining their own propaganda against the target audience. And there's no way that they would do that on purpose unless they were feeling a tremendous amount of pressure to move both of these operations at the same time. Like there's no way you would unleash your SEC dogs on these exchanges while simultaneously not having put in place your own like government sanctioned replacement for the exchanges, unless you were like, we're losing the innovation race horribly right now. But they are.
That is an interesting take.
I appreciate where you guys are going with this, but show is going on and we do have some more news.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, but we should move on. We need a dedicated body and Alaska Anon segment. No, that's really good. But I'm just gonna get through the rest of these really quickly. So next up, we've got South Korea to invite 100,000 citizens to test CBDC in 2024. So more CBDC stuff coming out, of course, like we've seen going on with a lot of the world over the past couple of years. So that's happening. And then next, I mean, this person's calling him Bitcoin friendly. I think he's just crypto friendly in general. Announcement of Milei winning Argentina. Yeah, and the crazy part is that he won 55% of the votes, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. I think a lot of people were not expecting him to win, is a general sentiment I got. But no, he won by a decent, a fair amount. So
Yeah, he's the most voted president in Argentinian history.
Really? So are all the Argentinian elections like
it was
really
a referendum
close then?
against the peso.
Let me look it up. So last runoff we had one second.
Have you guys ever heard of this saying, it's easier to lie to somebody than convince somebody that they've been lied to?
Yes.
This is one of the reasons why I think that he's going to win a lot of seats in the midterms, is because people are not prone to admitting that they were wrong. And if you have that many people, especially with that kind of turnout, who have committed to the idea of doing something different, it's very likely that they'll be stubborn enough to make it through the midterms.
Yeah, last runoff, it was only decided by 1%. So now nearly 10% is a lot.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's cool to see.
All right. We covered the topic thoroughly.
Yeah, we
earlier
did. Just a few more. We've got this post talking about how your Bitcoin money might become dust because of the rising fees. If you've got less than a certain amount in your Bitcoin wallet, it could easily just become unusable because you don't have enough in there to actually make a transaction, which is an ongoing issue with Bitcoin and the fees that have just been skyrocketing as of recently.
But remember, El Salvador, this is the people's money.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, but then Lightning Network, guys. Lightning will save us all.
Wasn't it? I think it Roger Ver, like
on-chain BTC, so you have to spend that anyway.
Remember Roger Ver during the block size wars when he's like, if we don't switch to something different, it's gonna price poor people out of making small exchanges. I wonder whatever happened with that.
Right.
This is pretty cool. I can sort of read what this says, but the headline is Argentine President Javier Milei confirms he will shut down the central bank. So, yeah, I guess it's happening. What do you think, Gone-Bot-Fire?
Hopefully. I mean, he doesn't have the Congress majority, so he will need to pull some tricks. Like, for example, the Constitution doesn't allow the government to have no currency, but technically, we still have a gold-backed currency from the 19th century that technically it's still around. So technically, we can use that to shut down the central bank. So it will be interesting.
Oh wow! Okay,
that is cool. That's a much better currency for sure.
Is there any way that I can purchase these gold backs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually, they are collectibles. They're cool. I want to own one. It's called Peso Oro Argentino, I believe.
Oh, awesome.
And the last link that was given to me, Noseboy is asking what happened in Cryptogramy. I guess Cryptogramy sort of disappeared from Twitter. And also I noticed recently at bit_Thanos, who I'd been following like since I got on here, he doesn't seem to exist anymore either. So they both just kind of disappeared, unfortunately.
Cryptogramy was working on some interesting Monero projects, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he's like gone, or if just if Twitter is gone. I don't know if this was his proper
No, I
handle.
think if you
but
check the thread, I
he
think
changed
somebody
it.
He moved to the orphan block.
Yeah,
so
click on that.
That's gonna. I gotta open this in another browser because of the Twitter tracking link. It's like locking this one. Give me a second.
I don't think anybody got that joke,
Yeah.
but like he moved to a different block, the orphan block. You know that. Okay,
yeah.
never mind. Lame joke.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, yeah, we get it. Archiving this project 10/16/23. The project is no longer maintained. Forks welcome. Oh wow. So he archived Hotshop.
What else was he working on? What are some of his other? Okay.
Had a lot of repos. Most of these are forks from other stuff. I think it was XMR Pocket Node and Hotshop, I guess, which is
hopefully it comes back.
Yeah.
Grampy.
Oh, kind of sad.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in the Monero community followed him, and same with Pit Thanos. I have no idea what happened to that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, sad. But I mean, it happens. They're anons, so I just want to take a break, I guess.
Or he's still among us under other names.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally
a lot
could
of the
be.
time, they'll just reemerge under a different
Hello.
pseudonym, and you don't even know. So.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys. This was a marathon show as always. A lot to cover this week though, with Argentina and everything. Any final comments?
I do have a question. Do you have
Sure.
any idea what the ticket prices for Monerotopia will be yet, or not yet?
I just asked AJS. He said that he has no idea yet. They have to come forward with the prices of everything. Then, I mean, the cost of everything. Then they will decide.
Monerotopia, I think he was asking. But yeah, similar. Monerokon, I don't think they know yet, but I heard like $100. Monerotopia will be similar to what we did last year, like a VIP and a general, and then basically a free ticket with a nominal charge, so we can get as many locals as possible.
Which would be really cool this time, Doug. You price it in Monero. It's a risk you're taking, but you're really setting the stage.
Is the e-ticket going to be cheaper than the general admission ticket since you're not actually being able to go?
Oh, the virtual ticket?
Yeah, because last year you wanted the virtual ticket to be the same as the general admission, but it's like, okay, we're not being able to go, so.
Yeah, we haven't thought about the virtual yet. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
I mean, the whole idea, though, was that there was an incentive to actually go, because the whole point of a Monerotopia, and I don't mean to speak for Doug or anybody, but the idea is to actually meet up and actually do stuff. So I can understand, like, kind of having a certain price incentive. And on that topic, I just I wanted to throw this out, and this isn't meant to be like a plug for Git Graphene or anything that I'm doing, but for one, System 76 was hoping to have Monerotopia reach out to them, which it's press at system76.com or something like that. But the other thing is I'm starting to pool together funds for sending like promising developers to that. I was going to focus on Monerotopia. I realize this is a Monerokon thing, but I kind of like the edgy vibe at Monerotopia. But anyway, we're going to try to put together a pool of money for travel expenses to send certain developers to Monerotopia.
Oh
so
my God,
basically, yeah, it's because I realize that for some people flying to Argentina is like, I mean, a certain Hungarian developer, for example, might need a little help or whatever. But like the idea being that we can try to help people get to Monerotopia, and I wanted to start now because I figure it's probably going to add up to a lot of money. But I would actually strongly encourage you, Doug, and of course Tux. I don't think I'll have to convince Tux very hard, but to get in touch with the people at System 76, because their ideals are so in parallel with everything that Monero is and everything that it stands for. They're one of the few like kind of bleeding edge technology like hardware technology companies out there that is like living the philosophy, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like they even physically disable things like Intel Management Engine. They do their own operating system. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to strongly consider getting with some kind of representation. Yes. But I would be very interested to hear it. And the thing is like there is a massive, massive gap, like a massive chink in our armor on the hardware side of things. Arctic Mine was hitting on it really hard when you guys were talking about the CCS thing. But it's pretty well known that hardware is the biggest weakness on like the open source software community, which Monero isn't just leaning on. Like without it there is no Monero, right? So like it would just be interesting to not only that, but put them on the spot on certain things that, you know, they might be better positioned to be dealing with. And I'm not going to try to tell you how to do a show, but I'm just saying, like, because obviously I don't have a successful show, so I'm just some chump. But like, I'm just encouraging you guys to reach out to them. And I think that it would be a good idea to press the issue, I guess. I'll just leave it there.
It would be cool.
Awesome. We will definitely reach out to them. Yeah, we got a ton of ideas for Monerotopia and people that we want to partner with. The whole, you know, Monerotopia with Mexico, I think we did a good job of allowing other projects to participate. Like we were talking about earlier, is like the whole Xano team was there. Anyone that's working on privacy. Yeah, right. It was great. Anybody that's working on what we consider legitimate privacy tech projects, open source, you know, people that are like actually really pushing things forward. We're going to try to get them involved with Monerotopia. Ticket prices we haven't figured it out, but like last year, we want it to be as accessible as possible for the locals. You know, we're asking the Monero community members to pay a little bit, but that's really going to help finance the conference and allow us to do the thing, and obviously sponsors as well. But then we want a super cheap nominal ticket for locals just to bring people in, and we're trying to do it like we did with Monerotopia last year in an area that's going to be very accessible to people that are just hanging out in the city, where they could just kind of like naturally walk in and through the conference. That's what we're trying to figure out. If we don't actually do it at LabPitConf, which is a possibility, but there's pros and cons to that. It'd probably be the same like the day after LabPitConf is probably what's going to happen.
You know, the Xano team was definitely by far my favorite part of the actual stage show of Monerotopia. So that whole like anybody can come and talk about whatever. Like there were people almost in tears, and there was like all kinds of cool. I mean, that was the bomb.
There was a good proof of work, proof of stake debate. That was good. All right.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
One last word.
Yeah, Combat's it's easy for him, right? I don't know. He's close.
I'll be there no matter what. Yeah.
We'll be talking about a lot moving forward, and then we got Copa Monero. We just need to iron out something before I start talking in specifics. Comrade, what's up?
Could we chat after the meeting or the podcast? After it, maybe sometime.
Yeah. I'll try to reach out to you today.
Sure,
later today when I'm driving, for sure.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
All right, guys. I think I'll leave it at that. Anything else? Closing statements?
Right.
Anybody? I think we're good, right, Tux?
Yeah, we're good.
I think we covered it all. Yeah, and the final viewing here.
Go ahead.
What's going
you.
All right, guys. Everyone have a good weekend. We're going to end it right here.
Do these shows every week at 11 a.m. Ciao. See you next week.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the